Very good morning to all. Now we will start the session with the views from the stakeholders. I request Abhiyant Tiwari, NRDC, to come and make his presentation.
Very good morning to you all. Good morning. चाय पी लिया सबने? मैंने नहीं पिया. So there are changes. We know that, and it's obvious. In India, we say that US can plan for anything but can't manage. Plan for everything but can't manage anything if it comes at the last moment. But in India, even though if we don't plan for everything, we can manage anything at the last moment. So I checked yesterday if there is a presentation to be made. I was told no presentation नहीं देना, आपको just reflections and share करने हैं. So I am Abhiyant Tiwari. I work for NRDC India. NRDC is called Natural Resources Defense Council. Don't confuse it with the other NRDC. It's a US based non-profits India counterpart. I can call it that way. And we work on a range of issues. One of them is climate resilience and health. So in India, we started our work almost a decade back, primarily with the heat wave. And since sitting, here yesterday, I'm nowhere, I'm trained in a public health, not on the climate part. But since I've been working on heat waves and heat action plans, I know a little bit of meteorology or climatology, but nowhere close to the experts sitting in the room. So please pardon me if I say anything which is not, making any sense to you. But I was, bit curious about this dialogue on, distinction between climate services and weather services. Where do we put this distinction between the climate services and weather services? Because when we are talking about, and since we particularly work on heat action plans and heat adaptation plans with cities, with states, city governments, with state governments, with different stakeholders, even with the national, agencies, including National Disaster Management Authority, India Meteorology Department, National Health and Family Welfare Department. We work with all of them to try to get a sense how to better develop our, cities primarily to deal with heat. So this distinction between climate services and weather services, I was just jotting down few points because I knew कि presentation नहीं करना है तो कुछ तो लिखना पड़ेगा मेरे को. So this distinction between climate services and weather services is something that we need to be clear about when we talk about this national, framework for climate services, and whether products for heat wave could fit into that or not. There is a famous adage by Mr. Mark Twain, if you know, which is like climate is what we expect and weather is what we see. So, but what we deal with is what we see. We are trying to bring in climate services to some extent in these heat action plans in terms of the short term and medium range forecast or seasonal forecast per se. Let's say when these seasonal forecasts for the summer season comes out, we immediately reach out to the authorities that see this summer IMD has forecasted that this summer is probably going to be hotter than the previous summer, and these are the states and these are the regions in the country which are likely to be on the hotter side. So that is something that I'm just trying to learn from this gathering and the gathering of experts that what are there for the users to absorb from the services that we are trying to create. And I would highly encourage, if yesterday also, sir, actually you mentioned about the forum thing. to learn more about where is the forum part uh, of the national forum on framework on climate services. Is there a national forum on climate services? And if that forum, comes up, how would that shape? Would it shape by hazard or by region? I don't know. I would say it should shape by hazard, by region, or by user. Let's say department, or let's say sector. Would it be a forum for agriculture, or would it be a forum for heat? Let me call it again, or rainfall. If it is heat, that forum could contribute to all the sectors, agriculture, health, and different sectors, and they can come in and contribute their part. But if it goes by the sector, then maybe it would, in my understanding, become difficult. If it is just for agriculture, a forum for agriculture, how would that the things that we are talking about, interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary discussions, would that happen? So maybe a forum for hazard, let's say national forum for, there are examples globally. There is a global heat health information network. There is a national integrated heat health information network in US and in several other countries, which bring together these different sectors, and they are talking about short term, long term forecasts of heat and other products. So if there could be a forum in India also on different hazards, that would be a good initiative. And if national framework on climate services, IMD, could spearhead that, then NRDC and other agencies are happy to support that and join hand together in taking that forward. So yeah, that were my quick remarks that I wanted to share in my 5 to 7 minute slot. I think I didn't overgo on my time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sivarji. Anybody further want to add to his view? One or two quick remarks. Okay, nothing. We will proceed to next one. I request Srimati Pushpa, Grid India, to present. We request next presentation, Sri Nitin Basi, CEW, to make presentation. Nitin is there? Otherwise, next person, Nidhi Jamwal.
Good morning. I think I'm the most odd person in this room because I come from media. I think me and Anjali, we're just two of us who are from media. Uh, First of all, I would like to really thank the organizers, especially Dr. Hosalikar, for actually inviting media to be a part of this stakeholders workshop. Um, I started my journey as a journalist almost 23 years back. And at that time, there used to be a lot of differences between the scientific community and journalists per se. Because scientists, on one hand, used to feel that journalists don't understand the science. And most of the times ended up reporting wrong things, especially science stories. And as journalists, we felt that scientists are not open to speaking to media, because of which we were not able to report on issues which the common people should understand. In the last 2 decades, I must say this bridge, this gap that was there between journalists, between media and scientists, has reduced to a large extent. Uh, but there is still a gap that remains, and I really hope that when we're working on this climate services framework, uh, this opportunity is also used to bridge the gap that exists between the scientific community and the journalists, because eventually it is the journalists, it's the media who takes the message of science to common people. And because climate change is an issue which affects everybody, it's very important for common people to actually understand the science behind it, to make sense of it. And I think a lot of things can also come from the people, because I work with Gaon Connection, which is a rural media platform, and we do stories purely from rural India. And we realize that there are already a lot of adaptation practices which are part of the traditional wisdom of our people, which can actually also feed into this whole climate response or climate services thing. So that's one thing I feel, that if while we build this framework for climate services, if we can use this opportunity to also train and build the capacities of journalists, because a lot of times a lot of speakers have spoken about training and capacity building. I really want to stress on the need to build capacities of media, of journalists on a regular basis while we are developing this framework, so that we as journalists can report on what's happening, what this framework is, why is it important. And I think also it's important that we involve the regional media also in this, and not just limit ourselves only to reporters or media people who report in English. Second point that I think I want to make is, since yesterday we've been looking at a lot of these presentations with nice graphs and charts, and everybody's rightly pointing out how much work everybody is doing to address the challenge of climate change. But as journalists, whether it's me or Anjali, we actually spend most of our time in the field, where we report from villages, where we report on how climate change is affecting the poorest of the poor in the country. And to me, the whole day yesterday, I kept looking at these presentations, and I also kept remembering all the people we meet in field, farmers we meet who just suffer one crop loss after another, whether it is an early heat wave which affects the wheat crop, then you have monsoon which doesn't arrive in time, which affects the kharif cropping. They go for double sowing, the second sowing also fails. Somehow they manage to grow paddy, then you have unseasonal rainfall or something, so everything gets washed away. And we've been doing these stories over and over. Every month we keep documenting these stories. I do feel somewhere there is a disconnect between our science and what is happening on the ground to the users. Uh, 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 so I think when we build this framework, I hope there is some kind of feedback. I do not know what that mechanism would be. The feedback also should come from the users from the ground who will be using these services. We do so many stories of maybe a little girl who was grazing, who was helping, walking around with her goats grazing, and you have a lightning and a thunderstorm, and she just dies, whether it is Jharkhand, or you have farmers who are in their field in Odisha. There's a lightning strike, and then they die. Then you look at these things where almost most state governments have come up with their own apps of thunderstorm and lightning warnings and all that. But I don't know, it doesn't really help that last person who's working in the field. So there is some disconnect somewhere. I think we all need to somewhere figure out, how do we address that. Is there a way we can find out from the users that what is the problem? I mean, if we have so much of science, if we have so much of technology, why is it not really translating into, I'm not saying we're not saving lives, we're saving a lot of lives. Looking at the way disasters are striking us back to back, but there is some disconnect. I hope when we build this framework, somewhere media can contribute towards, bringing science, taking science closer to people who live, maybe in villages in other towns and cities. I think that's all I have to say right now. Thank you.
Please dance. At the outset, I have to thank, but she says that everybody says that odd man out like this. Don't feel that it is all stakeholders things. You said that there is no, but you have excellently importance of the role of the journalist here. As pointed out that one of the component of NFC is how to bring into the reporting documentation. That aspect she has pointed out. Being in operational head of the southern region, I have seen importance of the media very, very important everywhere, regional levels. Everywhere we know that whatever we tell in a technical way, next day when we read that newspaper, it has been nicely translated in the language so that it can appeal to not only laymen, for the technical people also. So their role is very, very important. Only thing is we should, because technical thing is one thing, but how to translate it to the reach to the masses, that is also important. This is also in component here, that also we are thinking. Thank you.
So one more thing, we definitely we will increase, but regular course we are organizing the media workshop at RCA and MC level, inviting all the media people, explaining the terminology used by IMD, the science behind the difference. Sometimes media are confused with the say for trough and low pressure, all those things. So these are doing on quarterly basis, inviting all the media in our RCA and MC offices. But as you said, definitely we will increase the frequency so that it can reach to the most of the media people. Thank you.
Next, I request Anjali madam to present Indian Express.
Hello and good morning to one and all. I am Anjali Marar from the Indian Express. Firstly, I would like to thank the organizers for having me here and allowing me to learn again from a lot of things that are happening towards the building of national framework. I have two quick points. Some of them have been already mentioned, and Nidhi has set the tone very right for me. So the first point I would like to again reiterate here is the capacity building program, wherein media can be trained. I've had the privilege of interacting with the IMD and reporting about weather and climate for 10 years now, but there are many from the media who may not get this long a tenure. So the requirement of training of the newcomers or those who join in suddenly one fine day they're asked to write about something is it's always dynamic. So if we can have some guidebook, a media guidebook, wherein it will be easier, you can go back and refer. I may not remember what a monsoon term is in the winter season because I'm not dealing with it day to day. So if there can be a guidebook where media can always go back and refer and get our things clarified without disturbing the IMD or without disturbing the scientists who already have a lot of things at their disposal. So I would request if there can be a guidebook for media, which we will also would want to contribute in the sense we will know what all terms are required on day-to-day terms. As Sir was rightly saying, the technical terms get translated very nicely on the next day. But that has come after a lot of practice, that has come after a lot of homework from our part. It's not an easy thing. I hope you all also appreciate. So one thing I would request is a guidebook for media. Second would be if media as a vehicle, as Nidhi pointed out, if media as a vehicle can be used more effectively. There's already a set system. There are multiple languages where media is functioning, from television to newspapers to digital world. So we already have a language system. Can it be effectively used more? Can IMD engage with the media more effectively than what it is doing now? If there is any urgent message to be sent out, of course there are emails or fax messages, and some of which even we receive. But can there be more established way of using media? It doesn't come with much of a cost, given the amount of reach media has. So can media as a vehicle be exploited? I would literally use the word exploited better by the IMD and for this framework. And since we're looking at a climate service, it is a long-term engagement. It is not something that we're looking at only at one season or one episode of disaster. So these are the 2 points that I would like to raise at this moment. And any cooperation from the media side, with the respective MCs or RCs, there are a set of people who frequently interact with your officers, and we would be happy to contribute in any way towards this framework. Thank you once again for the opportunity and patient listening.
Thank you. Regarding the guidebook,
Thank you, Anjali and Nidhi. She's here. So, first of all, kindly excuse us. We could not accommodate many media persons who were really interested to participate in this. But maybe due to logistic issue, we could bring some representatives, a representation rather, I can say. And I know both Nidhi as well as Anjali. Anjali is a regular IMD official only, I can say. She is from Pune. She attends every Friday all map discussion, and she has many questions that many times we are not able to answer it also related to the weather. And similar with Nidhi, who is covering all the socio-economic things. And her favorite topic is monsoon, and I'm sure she has covered a lot of things when Raghuwanshi was there as a secretary MOES. So we take whatever points you have suggested. We understand that we need to strengthen our understanding and interaction with media. Weather is one. Climate is something more difficult than the weather. That I clearly take this point. So we need to advocate ourselves, as well as at the same time we need to pass on this to you so that you carry it as a vehicle or a carrier. And India Meteorological Department always consider that media is an extension arm of IMD, because that's how you reach to the lakhs of millions of people. So definitely we will consider this couple of points that you have expressed, and we'll be glad to have more such inputs from you. We will plan some NFCS workshop with media also. Maybe this could be one of the recommendations from this group also, that there could be one interaction media, meeting or workshop with media also, exclusively for media. And they will be from different, channels. It's not only English, but maybe the other languages also we can try to cover up. Thank you.
just I want to supplement what Salikar Sahib said regarding the technical term. Chennai Met Department has prepared a technical glossary, and what are the criteria we are using, both in English and of course regional language, that is updated in our website. Similarly, other places also they will be doing it. Everybody is doing. Still, we will, anything is required, you can inform that we will do it. This is one additional point. That one. Next, I call upon Srimati Pushpa to make presentation.
A very good morning to all the dignitaries present here. We are indeed grateful for inviting us to this stakeholder workshop on the National Framework for Climate Services. Thank you, IMD Pune and the Ministry of Earth Sciences for giving this opportunity to present here. And also we are very grateful to the CHRIST management for this wonderful arrangement. Unlike the conferences in hotels and all we attend, this campus is very vibrant, and it was a very beautiful campus, and the hospitality, warm hospitality by the students was really touching us. Actually, they are really trained by their teachers for doing the services from beginning. So I am Pushpa. I'm working as senior general manager in Grid Controller of India Limited. I will just brief you about our company. I will take a few minutes to introduce our company. We are the earlier the name was company name was Power System Operation Corporation Limited, POSOCO, and we are the we are operating the integrated national power system operation through 6 control centers. One is at Shillong. It is for the northeast region.
One is at Calcutta for the eastern region. One is at southern region for Bangalore for southern region. 2 control centers we have at Delhi for northern region 1, and we have the National Law Dispatch Center at Delhi. And at Mumbai, we have the Western Regional Law Dispatch Center. We are from the Western Regional Law Dispatch Center. Myself and my colleague Raghuwanshi and other colleagues have come. We have come from Mumbai. In the Western Regional Grid, we have Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Chhattisgarh, Goa, DD and DNH in the grid operation along with us. The company mission is to ensure integrated operation of the Indian power system to facilitate transfer of electric power within and across the regions and transnational exchange of power. We exchange power with Bangladesh, Nepal, and Myanmar with the reliability, economy, and sustainability. We are a statutory body with a fair, neutral, and transparent approach with accountability. We are a knowledge-based organization with functional and financial autonomy, and profit is not an objective. Other important thing is we are the vital link between the administrators, policymakers, regulators, planners, and the physical system like generation, transmission, distribution, and the power markets. In grid operation, okay. In grid operation, frequency is one of the key parameter we monitor. For a balanced system, we all know that the 50 hertz is the frequency. So if the generation and the load balances exactly, the frequency is 50 hertz. And if there is some load crash and all that, then frequency increases. And if there is surplus generation also, if the frequency is more. So we are a regulated, we are a statutory body, and we are bound with regulations. One of the main regulation we follow is the Indian Electricity Grid Code. Recently, from 1st October 2023, the IEGC, Indian Electricity Grid Code 2023 has been implemented. Lot of changes have been implemented. And when in the grid operation, mostly the changes in the load are happened due to bad weather conditions, some disturbances, and load change over boundary hours, and some industry loads or housing, domestic load changes like that. And in the generation also, some trippings due to faults or other reasons, when it occurs, there is change in generation and due to some tripping of the evacuation lines, etc. In grid operation, for planning a reliable and secure operation and supplying continuous power supply, both demand forecast and renewable energy forecast play a vital role. Resource adequacy is required for maintaining load generation balance and to keep the system parameters within limits as per IEGC. Different seasons impact the power system. There are the seasons already mandated like summer period, monsoon period, winter period, renewable energy, renewable generation, when the maximum generation wind and solar generation are there in that period. Like that, different seasons are there for the power system also. So weather forecast is the fact other than historical data for accurate forecast of load, demand, and renewable energy also. We experience many events like due to bad weather, then sudden weather events like cyclone, like we have experienced Biparjoy in 23, and there was a Taute cyclone in 21, And some like events like solar eclipse, which happened in 2020, are some of the examples where there are considerable load crash, or in case of solar, there is considerable reduction in solar generation, which impact grid operation severely. So for us also, the weather data as well as the climate data also in the long term, because as per our grid code, the forecast has to be, there is a long term forecast on yearly basis. One forecast is required, then monthly, weekly, week ahead forecast, and a day ahead forecast is required. Now I request my colleague Raghuwanshi to show some slides on the impact on weather, which has a considerable impact on the grid operation, and our requirement of weather data, our requirement of data from IMD as well as from the NFSCS for our reliable and secure grid operation.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning to all. So, as ma'am has already specified, as a system operator, our main focus is for reliable and secure grid operation. And frequency is the main parameter which we have to ensure. The operating frequency range for Indian power system is mandated by Indian Electricity Grid Code, and that is 49.9 to 50.05 hertz. Now, it must be understood how weather and climate is important for the power system, because this frequency is affected by demand and supply in the grid at one particular time. When demand and supply are matching, at the time frequency is 50 hertz. But when demand is more and supply is less, means generation is less, then frequency will be going down. It will go below 50 hertz. It can go up to whatever range as per the system conditions, if supply is very less and demand is more. On the other side, if supply is more and demand is less, then frequency will go up. Then there are many protection systems in the power system which are actually designed as per the frequency range, and as a protection, whenever frequency is going beyond a certain range, they will trip, and it may cause a blackout in the system. Generation will trip on higher frequency also, on lower frequency also. So when one generation is tripping, then there is less generation in the grid. So it should be understood that to maintain a reliable and secure grid, reliable and secure power supply in the country, it is must that there should be balance between generation and demand. Now, the generation, which was previously only supplied by coal-based generating station mostly, or hydro, which is totally controllable. You set the parameters, you operate the governor, and the output of the generating station is controlled. Similarly for hydro stations. But with integration of large chunk of renewable energy, which is actually a vehicle for sustainable development, so large chunk of RE is being integrated in the system. And this generation, that is renewable energy generation, that is not controllable. It depends on climate, it depends on weather. So climate and weather plays now a very prominent role for the system operation. So I will be putting up some of the examples how system is getting affected, power system is getting affected due to these changes in weather and climate, and what are the requirements from our side for system operation point of view, so that this reliability and security of the grid can be ensured. Power as a commodity, you can see it's everywhere. All industries, household, all institutes, all research, everywhere power is required. So you can understand whenever there is power disruption, so the financial impact is very large. So from that point of view, it is very important for power systems to have a reliable and secure grid, and for that optimal demand and RE forecasting. So in this slide, you can see it is actually showing the first plot is demand plot. In this, how the demand of western region is changing throughout the year. So whenever there is rain, the demand will be less, and whenever there is summer season, due to this cooling loads coming in the system, demand will be more. So that can be seen in this present just a minute, I just open the pointer. So here in the monsoon season, the demand is less. And for this particular year, this blue is actually previous year plot, and this plot, the red one, is for the current year. So in this, you can see in the month of August, there was no rainfall. There was deficit in rainfall. So the demand picked up, and that was not expected. We were expecting that there will be a monsoon. So it picked up. And similarly, in the summer season, you can see demand is on the highest side. For RE, wind and solar, you can see in general normal weather, the pattern of solar is almost normal. It's periodic. But the wind varies with time and also with the climate. During the monsoon season, the wind generation is more. But during the winter, it is less. So the demand and RE generation also varies as per the state's geography and their requirement. So here in this, you can see the maximum demand of for Maharashtra. It generally comes in the month of summer. But for MP, it comes in the month of November and December, because it is driven by the agriculture load. Now, say if there is a weather forecast or rain forecast in the month of November and December, so at that time the load which was coming in the grid due to the agriculture pumps, that will not come. So this demand will go down due to rains. So from that point of view, this information of rain forecast is very important. Now, how cyclones are affecting? Generally, during the cyclones, there is the wind speed is very large and there is rainfall. So due to rainfall, the demand in the system goes down due to cooling effect, and due to high wind, generally a lot of the distribution side networks is taken out of service to prevent damage to life and also to the system. So due to that, generally the demand goes down. On the other side, when wind is high, so generally generation should be high. But this generation of wind generation is taken out of the system to prevent the turbine damage. So this how Biparjoy or other cyclones are affecting the power system. So as an operator, we should know that at what speed the wind will be coming in a particular wind generation form. So we will be knowing that the wind generation will be going out from the system. So this generation will not be available. So this is the during the solar eclipse on 21st of June, the solar generation went down by almost 11 gigawatt at the time of peak of the solar eclipse. And this is about the impact of rains. So whenever there is a large rain, means heavy rain in the system, so demand goes down. Now from grid security point of view, if demand is going down, then generation also be back down. If we are not backing down the generation, then the frequency will go high in the system. So as an operator, we should know beforehand how much demand drop will be there in the system for secure grid operation. Similarly, the solar generation also getting affected by the rains and cloud movement. This is a WR interstate transmission system wind and solar generation of 8 July 2023. Here on this red curve, you can see it is solar generation for the ISTS wind generation. You can see all of a sudden due to cloud movement, there is large variation in the solar generation. All of a sudden it is peaking, all of a sudden it is going down. Now all these are affecting the grid security critically. So forecasting of this type of solar generation, when cloud movement is there, when changes in climate are there, it is very important for us. This is a plot for a particular generating station. Here also you can see there are a lot of high ramp rates and sudden drop and sudden pickup of the solar generation. Now, it is not only affecting the reliability of the grid, it is also affecting the utilities commercially, especially the general public, because to maintain the grid, there is stringent deviation and settlement mechanism that is mandated by the CERC. So in that, if there is deviation in generation, then also generator is to pay penalty in form of DSM charges. And if there is deviation from the generator side, they have to pay penalty or they will get less money. So all this amount which is to be paid for system security, it is recovered from the general public. So it's a burden on the general public also. So we will be requiring, and in fact we are using it, and all RE generators also and states are also requiring it, parameters for demand forecasting and RE forecasting. So for demand forecasting, we will be requiring temperature, rainfall, relative humidity. For wind forecast, wind speed, wind direction, pressure. And for solar power forecast, solar irradiance, relative humidity and temperature. And I will not go into detail, but in IGC it is very elaborately elaborated that this demand forecast is to be done annually, monthly, weekly and daily basis by all states, all RLDCs, and national level also it is being done. From planning part, the planning agencies like CTU, they are also doing, CTU and CA, they are also doing for a period of 5 years, the demand forecast. And as per that, they are also seeking the adequacy of the generation, whether it is available or not. Similarly, for RE forecasting also, it is been mandated in this IGC. RE forecasting is to be done by SLDCs also, by RLDCs also, it is to be done on a regular basis. Now, the significance I have already mentioned, for reliability and security of grid operation, the demand and RE forecast are most critical aspect. So we are looking it very seriously. Then the DSM charges, which is to be borne by the general public, and that is a cost towards reliability and security of the grid. So all these things can be ensured and DSM charges can be lowered down if the demand and RE forecasting is done at an optimum level. And for that, the forecasting of weather and climate should be optimum to the near accurate, so that the demand and RE forecasting is near accurate. And whenever this rooftop solar also come, so this there is a relation between demand forecast and RE forecast, or say the demand and RE. If there is due to cloud cover, the generation is less. So all of a sudden the demand of state will increase. Why? Because the load which was previously catered by the rooftop solar, now that generation will not be there. So ultimately state will draw more from the grid. And the rainfall forecast, the unit outage, the generation units, they require outages for maintenance. So this is also planned on annual basis. So the period of these outages is kept such that they should not fall in the period when demand is more. But if there is no proper rainfall prediction and there is faulty rainfall prediction, you can say, then what will happen at the time of monsoon like this year? Many units were given outages in the month of August, but there was no rainfall in the August month. So what happened? There was no generation available, but demand came at that time. So there was a lot of load shedding in the country. Similarly, hydropower availability, that is also important from generation point of view. Then similarly, like unit outage, scheduling, transmission assets are to be maintained. Their outage is required. For that, the window for that is required as per the rainfall forecast. Then the coal is the major fuel still for Indian power system. Almost 56 to 60% power is generated using coal. So the coal supply, mining and transportation is getting affected by rainfall. So proper rainfall forecast is required so that these two things can be ensured for staking of the coal, sufficient quantum of the coal at generating stations. Some of the data we are getting from IITM at present, and we are using it for our internal demand and RE forecast. This is that. Now, what we required as a power system from states also and from generating stations also, especially RE stations also. So this data what depicted here is related to demand and RE forecast. The temporal resolution of 15 minutes is very important because whatever power is being scheduled, that is scheduled for 15 minutes time block. Last 15 minutes time block. So the demand, the weather forecast should be of 15 minutes time block. The revision periodicity shall be at least 1.5 hours or less. So that because this is the periodicity by which the schedule of generation and schedule of load is getting revised by states and generating station. The spatial resolution shall be maximum for solar power forecasting so that proper forecasting can be done. Now for model tuning and model tuning and increasing accuracy, actual data of weather is required. That is actually not at present we are getting it. So that data is also required by us. Special events, cyclone, and that more accurate path forecast is required so that we can identify the assets which can get affected by the solar, by the cyclone, and we can take preventive measures for that. Similarly, for this outages of transmission lines and units, rainfall prediction is required. At the last, just one thing, I want to point out that in this framework of NFCS, we will be getting the raw data. But can we devise a mechanism in that we will getting the demand forecast and RE forecast also? Definitely, the knowledge of domain will be required for that. For that, different agencies like we are there, then generating stations are there, RE power generating stations there. They can be engaged into that. So that can be integrated into this framework. Thank you.
Thank you for detailed presentation. Important aspect of the role of the climate services in the point of our sector. I had the opportunity to visit SLRD. I do it like a satellite launching. They have big screens where every minute they will be monitoring it, because now it is a national grid. Because of the national grid, each state is bound to draw the power only within the certain limit. As you pointed out, there are other sensitive things also there. If frequency increases, harmonic analysis they have to do regularly. So it will affect the hospital's management. ICU wards, all these things should be critical things. Even radar operations are particularly will be affected. So very, very important aspect, as he pointed out, the demand things, all these things we noted because of short of time. One point, okay.
I have small quick question. Whatever you have presented, that the use of this, there are a lot of the forecast in addition to weather scale, that is climate scale, weekly, monthly, or seasonal scale available. Whether you are using that for your generation of demand forecast for weekly, monthly, or beyond seasonal scale.
Sir, for the Western region, I am telling this data, what is available at IMD website, that we are using for alerting the constituents regarding any impending critical time of less rainfall, more rainfall, heat wave, demand, increase in certain demand. We are using for that. For demand and RE forecasting, especially for RE forecasting, there is no automated system for using the data. We are using the information, and using that information, we are manually generating the demand and RE forecast. Say if for a particular month, or like we are getting this weekly forecast of rainfall from IMD. So we are seeing in the region of Western region, say Madhya Maharashtra, Marathwada, there is less rainfall in that particular week. So as per that, we are doing the demand forecast. But integration of the data and preparing a model which can learn itself using the AI and generate demand and RE forecast itself based on the data, that is still under progress.
Can I have one? Permit?
So just adding the point that Tamil Nadu government already started in Tamil Nadu, they use all AI. We have provided the data, they are generating that also. Important factors.
Yeah, that's a point I would like to supplement what Dr. Balachandran said. IMD, in collaboration with Grid India, has developed a portal for power sectors. I hope you are making use of that. And that portal has data. It's not just information. Get in touch with those managing the portal at Delhi. Alok probably is managing that portal in Delhi. And we are providing digital data into that. So it would help you better use those data. It's in digital form, can be utilized. And we are in the process of developing altogether a new portal for which the proposal has been launched, I think, already. And if you have any suggestions, get in touch with the Delhi counterparts. That can be factored into that.
Still more presentations, let us move further. Huh?
Thank you.
Sir, we are using that data, but actually the resolution part and the periodicity part that I have highlighted in the last slide, actually that we need to work on. So we are in constant touch with Alok sir. Thank you.
Your point will be taken into. Next, I request Captain Ramanathan. Please, due to other presentations are there. And two more are there. Yesterday one could not be accommodated, that we have to accommodate two. One from Christ University and one from the MP.
AVM Dr. Ajit Tyagi, Dr. Hoslekar, distinguished and esteemed scientists, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Captain Ramanathan. I'm commanding the School of Naval Oceanology and Meteorology, that's in Kochi, presently representing Navy in this forum. Navy has a small metal oceanography setup organization, which is about 70 officers and about 300 sailors. We have a robust weather forecasting system for both aviation as well as for the seagoers. And we have a robust system of pushing information to both at sea and to the aircrafts whenever they demand. And in fact, of course, all these things were done with guidance of scientific institutions, including IMD, ISRO. I myself got trained with IMD and SAC Ahmedabad. We provide inputs for a strong search and rescue system also, which is one of our mandates, in fact. And I think people who are in Kerala would know the role search and rescue operation of played by Navy for the 2018 Kerala flooding. Those who have seen that movie 2018 would also understand the role of Navy. But with respect to climate forecast, I would like to give some references of a National Maritime Foundation paper, which was on sea level rise and climate refugee. That was by Dr. Priyanka Gautam, and was again reiterated by a 2001 paper of National Institute of Disaster Management, which brings out the report that climate change is not just agri, water, energy, or health issue, but it's also an equally serious maritime security and a defense issue. The sea level rise by 2040s may create changes in Indian coastal belts, and our defense structure planner cannot be caught unaware of this. So, yes, no problem. Morning, sir. So it's very critical. In fact, like what yesterday Dr. Rajeshri Botal from NRDC brought out, the driving forces for climate study are society, science, and economics. And in that, we should also include national security, and that's a need of the hour. So with one of the critical clientele of sea level rise, Navy is one of, Navy should, or Defense Forum should be one of the critical part of this national framework for climate services. We can very much contribute to this cause by providing platform for observation, both over land and ocean, which is an important part of the climate information study, validation system, information system, everything. So as an outcome of this particular conference, of a proposal from IMD or the forum, if it goes to the naval headquarters, which will be very positively examined, and that is something Navy would like to bring forward. We have been associated with IMD since ages, especially for data sharing, and this forum will only strengthen this relation. We should subsequently, we will deliberate on the nuances of types of data, the standardization of equipment, the maintenance, calibration, funding, etc. But such a proposal is nevertheless a good start for providing data. हम फौजी हैं तो हम देश के लिए जान भी देंगे और देश के भविष्य के लिए डेटा भी देंगे. So it's okay. We may also think of training workshops on climate studies with the regular stakeholders, which would ensure that a linkage between the organization with various organizations, all the stakeholders goes on for a longer time. So I conclude by saying that defense, Navy especially, needs to be considered as an important part of this National Climate Service framework. I would like to thank the forum, IMD, and Christ College for giving us the opportunity and this stage to hear us. And I would like to convey my special gratitude and thanks to Christ College and the student volunteers. And best wishes for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ramanathan. We welcome Dr. Mohapatra, DGM, for this session. Now, continuing the proceeding further, I request Ms. Pritty Jain to make presentation. Christ University. Please, quick.
Good morning, everyone. I am Pritty Jain. I am the Student Welfare Officer, and here I am teaching Artificial Intelligence and Decision Science. And by training, I am a physicist. Uh, I have on and off attending these sessions and interacting with various government officers. This helped me to build a very informed perspective towards the National Framework for Climate Service, which is being developed. This is a great initiative in building a pivotal bridge between climate services and actionable insights. I believe that we academicians have a big role to play to understand the different climates of the framework and disseminate the knowledge to the younger generations so that the framework can impact larger audience. We would happy to collaborate with IMD and all the other officers for the various research project and organizing workshop in this area. Looking forward to a long-term meaningful association with all the experts sitting here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, I request Dr. Bijendra Kumar, Government of AP.
Morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Bijendra Baghel from Water Resource Department, Government of Madhya Pradesh. For climate change, we have a state nodal agency, Environment and Planning Coordination, Department of Environment, Government of Madhya Pradesh. As per the guidelines provided in NAPCC 2008, we have prepared State Action Plan on Climate Change on 2014, and then we have revised it recently and launched in July 2023. We are very good collaboration with IMD and CWC. We are getting a timely forecast for the reservoir operation for mitigating the flood situation in our state. We have actually developed a disaster warning and response system, which is useful for mitigating droughts and flood scenarios in the state, in which we have created dashboard for by downscaling the information at district levels also. And we are looking all the aspects of climate change in all the sectors by disseminating the information at the districts level. And we are planning to develop some tools also with the help of IMD and CWC, so that we can manage flood situation in the cascading reservoir system in our state. As we have seen recently that in this monsoon, the August month was having a very less rainfall in our state, where 27 districts were deficient as far as rainfall is concerned. And then, as we have got a high intense rain in September this year, we have managed the reservoir operations properly by getting the proper information, timely information from IMD and 5 days forecast from CWC. In this way, we are online working with NFCS. This is all about from Madhya Pradesh. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we had very good inputs from the power sector, water sector.
I would just like to say, I request all of you, please give your demands, give your suggestions, what you expect from IMD. It is fine that we have come up a long way with respect to weather forecasting, and this is specifically meant for climate. What climate application you need, what climate data you need, what climate forecast you need, and what is the gap between you and IMD. That should be the concrete suggestion so that we will build up over that. Thank you.
So we had very good interactions and regarding the inputs from the power sector, water sector, and media, and this one. As pointed out by DGM, we should understand the difference between the weather services and climate services. What is the data you are using, what you require, as power sector pointed out, the demand request, all these things that we request that one, so that all these things will crystallize into the framing the framework for that one. With this, we complete the first session, and I hand over the floor to next.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Balachandran and Dr. Sanjay Bandavadaya for chairing this session. So we'll begin our next session in 2 minutes. We are beginning our next session. I request today's distinguished guests to come forward and take their place on the dais. Dr. M. Mrityunjay Mohapatra, Director General of Meteorology, IMD. Dr. Father Lijo Thomas, Director, Christ University. Sri K.S. Hosalikar, Head CRS IMD. Dr. Rajiv Chattopadhyaya, Scientist, CRS IMD. Thank you all. Now I request Sri Hosalikar sir to welcome Dr. Mohapatra sir with a Tulsi plant. Thank you, sir. It's my pride and pleasure to introduce Dr. M. Mohapatra, Director General of Meteorology, IMD, Government of India. Dr. Mohapatra is an eminent scientist in the field of monsoon, cyclone, and urban meteorology. He is popularly known as the Cyclone Man of India for having accurately predicted the paths of ferocious cyclonic storms many times. He has brought laurels to the country from different international agencies for the effective cyclone warning. He has received several awards and recognitions from different agencies, including Honorary Director of Science from FM University and Kalinga Institute of Technology, Fellow of Indian Meteorological Society, Fellow of Indian Climate Congress, and Certificate of Merit for Young Scientist by Ministry of Earth Science, and many, many more. He has served as a chairperson and expert member of several national and international committees. He was the chairman of WMO panel on tropical cyclone for 2017 and 18. He is a permanent representative of India with World Meteorological Organization. Recently, he has elected as the third vice president of WMO. Sir, it's an honor to have you today, and thank you for gracing this occasion. Now, I request Dr. M. Mohapatra, sir, to address the gathering.
Good morning and namaskar to all of you. Honorable Dr. Thomas, Mr. Hosalikar, Dr. Rajiv, Dr. Rajivan, and many distinguished guests, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, and dear students of Christ University. On behalf of India Meteorological Department and Minister of Earth Sciences, I express my deep gratitude to all the experts and participants for sparing their valuable time and being present here for 2 days to deliberate upon the various issues of weather and climate. It has been possible because of all of you, your hard work over the years and past few days by contributing your suggestions, comments for the improvement of the climate services in the country. As all of us know that India Meteorology Department came into existence in 1875, but prior to that also the service started in the country, starting with the port warning in 1865. And over the periods, as we faced different types of problems, though it started with the disasters, it came up with various sectoral applications. And to begin with, it was the Second World War, which demanded the extension of weather and climate services in the country. And thereafter, being an agrarian society, we realized that the thrust should be on agriculture and weather for agriculture. So in the pre-independence era, India Meteorology Department started the agrometeorological services. And thereafter again, when we grew gradually in terms of the meteorological observations, we could come up with very good climatological informations. When we think about the data available with India Meteorology Department, obviously it comes to our mind that we have got the first weather chart prepared, perhaps in 1881. And we have got all the data now digitized by India Meteorology Department. You can have the digital information from 1901 onwards with various parameters, various severe weather events. And all these are accessible freely to the public, disaster managers, researchers, students, practitioners, and many more. And gradually we came up with the climate services with this availability of data, at least for 30 years data will be available. Gradually we came up with various types of climatology of various parameters. Then we came up with the climate services by providing the data only. And afterwards, people thought to develop some kind of models, be it statistical models, to provide some kind of forecast of the climate. As all of us know that the long-range forecast of monsoon began long back with Dr. Walker. And at present, as all of us know that the long-range forecast is being provided for the entire country, not only for the season, but also for each and every month. It has been further extended since 2021 for all the months and all the seasons. It provides forecast not only for rainfall, but also for temperature. To follow it that, we also have the extended range forecast, which is being provided every Thursday, providing the information for next 2 weeks about hot spells and cold spells, heavy rainfall spells, or you can say wet spells and dry spells, or the active spells and back spells during the monsoon. So like that, the service has been extended with respect to climatology on heat waves, cold waves, the information on the heavy rainfall, cyclones, thunderstorms, dust storms, etc. We have been able to develop the climatology even in the small-scale events like tornadoes. So that is the story of developing the climatology and applications in terms of the forecasting. But still, we have to go a long way to improve the climate forecast in terms of its resolutions, in terms of the accuracy, precisions, in terms of its applications, the forecast applications. For example, we have come up a long way with respect to impactless forecast of weather. We are able to provide for each severe weather the impact informations valid for next 5 days. But when we come up with the climate, we are little hesitant, or do not have the confidence, or you do not find the platform to provide the impact-based forecast of those climatology. For example, when you predict the seasonal rainfall, we should also mention what is the impact. If we predict the monthly rainfall, we should also mention its impact. I am talking of impact because the accuracy of the forecast is improved. If you got accuracy reasonably well, then you can think of the impact, and impact can be carried out along with that. For example, if I look at this year's monsoon season, we could very well predict that it will be near normal. We predicted 96%, became 94.4%. And we predicted that June will be below normal, it became below normal. We predicted that it will be on the positive side of normal in July, it became so. We told August will be below normal, it became so. In September, we told that we would be good rainfall activity, and it happened so. So when you predict this type of activity, and when you say that except September, the seasonal forecast was quite good, so we could have given the informations about impact. So that can enable the various practitioners, the disaster managers, to have more specific information and planning and preparedness for all types of eventualities coming up a particular season. Of course, there is a long journey with respect to early warning and early actions. This early warning and early actions has been integrated with each other, and consider a country like India, which experiences all types of severe weather. This early warning early actions has resulted in reducing the loss of lives from various types of severe weather like cyclones, heat waves, cold waves, heavy rainfall even. We have been able to reduce the number of deaths. If I take an example of the Uttarakhand in 2013 and Uttarakhand in 2023. So these success stories has to be extended to the climate. And there is also need for integration of weather and climate. Weather and climate cannot be different from each other. So that also I insist that the weather forecasting group and the climate group have to work hand in hand. When I give a forecast and say that it is a seamless forecast from season to a few hours, and we have so, all mechanisms we have so in the country, the climate information has to be utilized extensively while developing the weather forecast. Say, for example, if I want to give the impact of weather forecast of today, say, for example, yesterday for Sikkim, so we should have the knowledge and database about the climate of Sikkim, and that information should be available on daily basis. That should be annexed with the weather information which is going to the general public and disaster managers. Of course, we predicted the Sikkim event. 5 days ahead, we gave the yellow color message, and then gradually we gave the orange color message. And flash flood guidance was also issued to government of Sikkim that we are expecting flash flood on 3rd, that dreadful night. So there is another issue. So what I want to say that there is need for some kind of integration in the weather and climate that IMD and other centers should work together. And for that integrations, the suggestions, comments, recommendations are very much essential from all our stakeholders, including state governments. The second point is that what I feel that the impact-based information should be provided with respect to the climate forecast. The third one I want to say that the climate applications. As we might have discussed yesterday, there are 4 target areas what we've identified: that agriculture, hydrology, disaster management, and water resources. But there are many other sectors also. Say, for example, the emerging sectors like urban sectors, or the health sectors, or environmental sectors, or transport sectors even, or tourism sectors. So there are many such socioeconomic sectors which are coming up which need information about the climate, and specific climate applications has to be developed. And decision support system also is developed. Just like for weather we have developed decision support system, for climate also decision support system has to be developed. So that is the part of IMD and concerned agencies dealing with the climate. But at the same time, when I gave some information about, say, for example, a particular sector, there should be a decision support system with the stakeholders so that they can utilize this information in their platform, and by that way, it can be applied, and the best possible preparedness and actions can be originated from the climate-based informations. So we have to go a long way, and this is possible only if there is a hand-holding. The practitioners, the stakeholders of the climate services, and the service provider like India Meteorological Department. So they have to handhold each other to develop this type of decision support system which will take care of both, and service can be provided to general public and others. So for example, if you go for, say, reservoir management, so we have come up a long way. The rule curve is still there, but we can think about the dynamic information which can be utilized instead of the simple rule curve. So like that, if I consider the agriculture, we have the crop weather calendar long back, that is static crop weather calendar. The dynamic crop weather calendar based on information should be utilized to have the agroclimatology, and hence the preparedness actions when there is hot spells or cold spells or heavy rainfall spells or the dry spells. There are some other issues like that. The research, for example, there are many organizations involved with India Meteorological Department which are also participating. Here comes the role of academic and R&D institutions. The research has been quite visible with respect to weather, I'll say. But if you look at the research with respect to the climate, basically people are oriented towards the data. Whatever past data are there, just analyze something and bring out some information. But the need of the hour is that we have to go for development of the modules, research-based modules, which can help each and every sector, every stakeholder. Say, for example, the time has come up, we should think about the flash drought. We think about the flash floods, but we do not have the concept of flash drought. If there is a deficient soil moisture condition continuing for 10 to 15 days, there will be stress on agriculture. And specific agriculture will have the specific type of stress. So therefore, flash drought will be different for different types of agriculture, different types of environments, different types of climate. So I'm just giving one or two examples with respect to agriculture. And hydrology, I told you. Similar with respect to disaster management. I always tell, this is an open question, I used to tell my colleagues also, I will give the open question here. So if Sachin Tendulkar is batting and he is approaching towards century, and he is now standing at 90, you will find the Ravi Shastri giving the commentary. The Sachin Tendulkar has completed, say, 30th century. It will be 31st century. It has scored so many runs. It will score so many runs in this band. If it runs like this, it will like that. If it runs like this, it will like that. And he will be the top one or top two or top three. So complete statistics comes up before he scores the century. So if it is raining in Mumbai, and we have predicted that it will be extreme heavy rainfall, now it is 10 centimeter rainfall over Mumbai. What is the role of climatology? What climate information provide in the real time? Whether we can come off that type of dashboard, whether we can come up that type of live commentary or live information to the disaster managers and general public and stakeholders, so that disaster managers can be more effective on real time. It is not a forget and fire and forget. Nowadays, the meteorology is not a problem of fire and forget. You have to be a continuous watcher, you have to be continuously at your foot, and you have to be smart. So I gave a slogan that we need smart meteorologists. The meteorologist cannot be that provide the information at best in 3 UTC, then again at 12 UTC, 2 bulletins in a day. No, it is not possible. You have to be on your foot, you have to continuously watch it. As and when there is a change, you have to provide it. And for that purpose, the climate information, the real-time information, the weather has to be taken together. It has to run. So that has to be possible only if we become the smart. So we need not worry about only the smart meteorologist, but you need the smart climatologist. If Mumbai has reported, say, 25 centimeter rainfall, I cannot say that, okay, my office is closed now. Tomorrow only I'll get the data and I'll tell you information, what is the earlier record. No, that is not possible. So these are the challenges to the climatologist at present. You have to develop your information in such a way that it reaches the public, disaster managers, all the stakeholders in real time. Just like Sachin Tendulkar betting and getting the century. You cannot wait for the next day, sir, I am to leave today. Sir, I am on the night at present, all records are off and I cannot reach it. So these are all vague. So I am telling our people also, I am targeting our people at the time. I used to tell, but I am in a common platform here because so that people should be triggered. People should understand. And that is possible also. There are many things to carry out that. The modelers are also present here. So we should have information from the modelers. The model climatology-based information, whether it's going to exceed 95 percentile or it is going to exceed 99 percentile based on the model climatology in the past, whether it will be the extreme forecast based on the indices developed with the various types of models. So which model performance is better, which model performance is not good in this particular case. It is not simply the real-time meteorologist or climatologist who is working in India Meteorology Department. The entire community has to be smart enough to provide the information. It is not like that I have run the model at 0 UTC and 12 UTC, my job is over. No. The modelers also has to provide the information about their forecast, their biases, systematic errors, and also what are the repercussions. It is applicable to both the NW models and the climatological models, and in between extended range forecast models. Everything has to be in collaborations, and I hope these stakeholders are so what we have considered today for 2 days. We ourselves will be get prepared, and I feel we might have received so many comments and suggestions. We'll take into care all these comments and suggestions. But whatever it may be, we have to bring out. Tyagi Saab is here. He started this concept of National Framework of Climate Services, but it could not be done so far. And finally, we have come up now that we can just imagine. Tyagi Saab was there in 2008 to 12. Now it is 2023. We should see that NFCS sees the light of the day. It should be implemented. We should not wait for the ideal NFCS. We have come up with a lot of activities with respect to climatology. We have come up with the climate data portal, climate supply data portal. We have come up with various development of climate indices development. We have got the basic data, we have got the derived data, we have got hazard analysis. It needs to putting together everything in terms of the climate data monitoring, in terms of the climate data, you can say quality control, QA/QC, and also we need the climate applications, climate modeling, climate forecasting, climate services. So these are the 4 or 5 components which is to consider. In all these components, India Meteorology Department is working together and with all our sister organizations. But when I say climate, it is not simply the observational data. Joseph Saab is sitting here. Also, it's the satellite climatology. Satellite has come up in 1961, and India was one of the most beneficiary in the world when we got a receiving system at Mumbai, Kolaba. The system was put up in December 1963. And from that period onwards, we are getting the data. And we do not have the climatology of the satellite-based climatology at present in the country. We should have the satellite-based climatology that are there, ISRO and Minister of Earth Sciences to work together. Similarly, the radar came up. We have very good analysis with respect to the conventional radar. Climatology is available. What we call DWR, it came in 2002, first time in Chennai. We do not have the climatology. Sorry, I am telling the fact. We do not have the climatology which is best in the radar. So the day has come that if you want to cover the entire region, you cannot be confined only to the land area. You have to go for sea area. You have to go to the hill areas like the Himalayas. You just think what is happening in Himalayas. So you have to develop the climatic informations, the climate extremes, the climate data. So based on the various types of sources, remote sense observations from satellite, radar, and the ground truths should be taken together. We should have a composite, just like we have developed the composite rain gauge and satellite-based rainfall. Similarly, we should have the composite information about everything, say convective activity, thunderstorms, or some other parameters, whatever is happening in this region. So that will go a long way, and that is possible only if this August House work together, and all the organizations work together to develop all the climatological data which is not still available in the country. At the same time, we should take care of the quality. We cannot compromise the quality. The quality has to be assured so that we stand in the international arena. And I'm sure we have got very, very, very good qualitative data with us. Only thing is that we should make it a platform and it should be available. And as all of us know that we not only work for India, we also work for the entire region. India is a leader now. It is a global leader, especially with this field when we go up to Chandrayaan-3. In meteorology also we have come up a long way. India is playing a very dominant role for all the countries. And as you told that India has become vice president, credit goes to you. It is not the Dr. Mohapatra who has become vice president, but it is the India who has become the vice president. And we should feel proud of you. And I congratulate all of you on this occasion. So what I say that the success is possible only if we have got active collaboration among ourselves. We have got a lot of data, we have got knowledge base. Only thing is that we should handhold, we should target each and every area, and we should come up with a specific development with respect to climate database, with respect to climate data with quality based, with respect to climate product generation, with respect to climate modeling, with respect to climate forecasting, and climate services for each and every stakeholder in the country. So thank you very much. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring address. Now I request Sri K.S. Hosalikar to felicitate our guest, Dr. M. Mohapatra, with a memento. Thank you, sir. We have now reached the pivotal moment for the signing of Memorandum of Understanding or MOU between IMD and CHRIST University. I kindly invite Dr. M. Mohapatra, DGM IMD, and Dr. Father Lijo Thomas from CHRIST University to step forward for the signing ceremony. May this MOU signify a beginning of a productive exchange of ideas and joint scientific research endeavors in the realm of weather and climate science. I request Dr. Anshul Saxena and Dr. Jain Mahajan also to come forward for signing the MOU.
So as we are in the second day of the stakeholder workshop, and as DGMs had pointed out, we need to go along, and last 2 days we are thinking a lot about capacity building and collaborations, which is the key for taking any work that we are doing. So this is the effort, MOU joint effort with CHRIST University, and we are working with they have a very good data scientist team here, and I am interacting with them. So we thought that why to go ahead forward with all our data and with all the we energetic students whom you are seeing, and they are going to help a lot of research mode activity with IMD and other places. So this is our opportunity to extend all those activities forward, and it's a part of NFCS activity also, because we are stressing on the capacity building, all these things. So I thank you, Ansulji, for taking all this effort, and thank CHRIST University, especially Father and all other teams who have taken this effort together.
Thank you all. Now we will be breaking for tea. We will restart the session at 11 o'clock, and then I request Dr. Father Lijo Thomas to give his comments on MOU.
Dr. and all the distinguished guests. And our relationship with IMD started 4 years back with Dr. Becky and Hosalikar. And it was an amazing journey from for the last 4 years. And we have IMD established automated weather station here. And it's already started serving more than 18 villages around this place. And I'm so excited and happy to see that we are moving to the next level of our relationship and collaboration through this MOU, and looking forward to this greater collaboration and more research and publications and services to the community, and also for the next generation to be more conscientized into these climate changes and climate actions. So thank you again for this this collaboration and MOU, and looking forward to working with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Father, for your kind words. Now we will disperse for the tea, and we will start the next session by 11 o'clock. Next session is on breakout reports. We will be discussing the breakout reports, what we have done yesterday. This is the session will be chairing by Dr. M. Mohapatra with Sri K.S. Hosalikar. Thank you all. Moving forward to the next session. This session is a discussion on the breakout group, what we have discussed on different pillars of NFCS. So I request Dr. M. Mohapatra, TGM IMD, and K.S. Hosalikar sir to chair this session.
Hello. So once again, welcome back to all of you after a tea session. And as Dr. Divya already announced, we're going to have a moderator, senior officers who were there in the yesterday's breakout session. The feedback that we got since yesterday evening was very encouraging, and without taking much time, we have got presentations or a sort of discussion by 6 people in the serial order of Dr. J.V. Thomas, Dr. Surya Rao, Dr. Pulak Guhathakurta, Dr. D.S. Pai, and Dr. D.R. Pattanaik. So I'll request Dr. J.V. Thomas to kindly make his submission presentations on his group of observational part of the NFCS system. Thank you. Over to Dr. J.V. Thomas, sir. And each moderator is requested to speak for about, say, 10 to 12 minutes, sir, and we will take the highlights of that. Thank you for all the cooperation.
Good morning, everybody. The breakout session on observations and monitoring. This meeting session has held yesterday evening in this hall. I was supported by Dr. Shijo Sakaria as group coordinator, and Sudarshan Patro as the rapporteur. And in this session, Dr. K.P. Sudhir, Government of Kerala, Srimati Kimni Changson, Government of Assam, Dr. Pradeep Taplial, Space Application Center, Ahmedabad, Dr. S.I. Laskar, IMD, Delhi, and Sri S.G. Kamble, IMD, Pune, Sri H. Wajri, Government of Meghalaya, Sri Charan Singh, RMC New Delhi, Sri Vikas Kumar Singh, Government of UP, and Sri Animesh Das, Government of Tripura, participated in these discussions. It was, even though the time was short, we were having a lively and active discussion in the short time. The following points came out of during the discussions. One is the long-term, well-calibrated global observations of climate parameters are an essential component of the NFCS that is well established, and again it is re-emphasized. And also, there are major gaps in the climate observations over oceans, polar regions, hilly and inaccessible and unpopulated areas, as well as least developed countries. India, poised to be a fully developed country by 2047, has inadequate observation and monitoring network, and concentrated efforts to be taken urgently to build this gap. This is also an accepted fact, again re-emphasized. The observation and monitoring pillar and NFCS should address these gaps, building on existing observational network, data management and exchange systems, and integrating with appropriate modeling systems. This calls for strong linkages with the other pillars of NFCS. Both space-based and ground-based observations complementing each other need to be planned. The low resolution or the low accuracy of the satellite data was pointed out. With the advanced meteorological satellites being proposed by IMD and rigorous intercalibration such as being carried out under global space-based intercalibration system could resolve such issues. India also should plan satellite observations for SST, atmospheric profiles of humidity and temperature, GSG, trace gas, and aerosol measurements, which are currently unavailable from Indian satellites. NFCS should recommend such missions for long-term continued measurements. All the participated states have pointed out gaps in surface observation networks such as AWOs, ARGs, and Doppler weather radars. IMD has pointed out difficulties in maintaining the large networks and sought active participation of states as stakeholders. In this, NFS could encourage private industry for establishing and maintaining ground observation network. This was also a suggestion emerged during the discussion. Appropriate economic business models such as data buyback or other support mechanism could be worked out under the aegis of NFCS, which may attract several industry players to this field. The problem of no network in hilly terrains calls for alternate methods of observation, satellite-based observations integrated with ground networks to create high-resolution data would be a full solution for such areas. The stakeholders who are providing data should commit to continue and maintain the platforms, ensure quality of the data, provide calibration parameters and algorithm details to create confidence on the data among users, and also should be willing to openly share the data. And this also is being supported by the geospatial policy, which is released in 2022. The participated states agreed to be the key stakeholders of the program, both as data providers as well as data users of NFCS. ISRO operates 3 Doppler weather radars, wind profilers, 46 lightning sensors, ocean met buoys, and plan to extend the network, including few HF radars and advanced facility at Chandipur. ISRO also carrying out NICES project with 63 geophysical parameters and 12 ECVs derived from space-based data. ISRO will be a key stakeholder in the NFCS program. Issues in data availability, different data formats, varying accuracies are deterrents in utilizing data. Under NFCS, a standard data format and required minimum data accuracies for various kinds of data should be specified. In this, WMO and GCO standards could be taken as a model. However, India can also have its own standards considering the current ground conditions. A pre-processing, pre-filtering mechanism is essential to ensure the quality of the data. Though Navy was not a member of the session, their comment during the day is taken as a report. Instead of individual agencies establishing ground observation systems in few numbers, a centralized agency could take the aggregated requirements and establish larger networks so that the data can be easily integrated with common standards and formats. This also should be considered. IMD should continue with several such workshops and bring in more number of stakeholders. All agencies and central state ministries, departments who are operating ground networks should be a part of NFCS. IMD should circulate a questionnaire seeking the details such as parameters being monitored, type and number of observation systems each agency is maintaining or planning to install, data format, etc., and the requirements to all the agencies. A compilation of this input will clearly bring out the current and planned capability as well as the gaps. The participants appreciated the efforts of IMD in organizing this workshop and taking steps towards realizing the concept of NFCS. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Thomas, and really you have come out with a very exhaustive pointers that where we were also anticipating that this type of inputs will come, especially in this observational network that we are looking at NFCS. You mentioned about the data range, the climatological data range, the gap areas, and to have a sort of observation network which is maintainable both by IMD as well as the other agencies. This is something very essential, which is a big gap area. You also mentioned about the development of the weather instrument observing system and also the ocean observation, which is very critical. I will add a couple of points if the group agrees. One is maybe there could be one R&D component also, research and development, where the country can plan NFCS, or the country can plan the low cost sensors, the low cost AWS. The current AWS are very costly. That's why sometimes integrating them at a very large scale, dense scale, could be one challenge. Maintenance could be one challenge. So there could be some low cost sensor, low cost observing system if we can, without compromising the technical aspect of it. The another system which even I was talking to Dr. Mohapatra sir is we are going to have one discussion on brainstorming on AMDAR data also, which the data will come from the aircraft that are flowing, especially over the oceans. That data also can be brought into. Not that we don't receive it, but the percentage is very less. We are working on that. So R&D and low cost sensor with the industrial connection and AMDAR data. These are my couple of suggestions.
Yes.
I will request Dr. Mohapatra if or any other officers to.
From the house, anyone wants to speak?
Thank you so much. See, one thing which is we have seen that there are many agencies who are observing in the country, and even states have got thousands of automatic stations. But somehow, because in the lack of national policy on collating this data and using it as a national asset is not there. As a result, this data is not being made available beyond whoever is put money or using it. Even in the government departments, between the two government departments, when we watered CWC and IMD, or the ISRO and IMD, many of the data is not being exchanged or really available in real time. So there should be a national policy that whoever buys equipment out of the government funds will get that registered with the national data portal, whatever you may create it, and it should be there. Second thing is, one is densification of the observational network, which is required operationally, but more important for climate services to have a climate observing system. The quality of the climate observations, see, all our observatories, even IMD, have been their exposure is no more, up to the standards what the climate observation should be there, which is not affected by urbanization or development in a neighborhood. So we need to have that type of, so that next 30 years, 50 years, and that should have a time frame. Similarly, the data which is there with us, satellite data and all that, that needs to be again see quality control and see that 30 years data whether it is able to be used for the climate services. Thank you.
Sir, this exactly as you said, the geospatial policy 2022 is exactly prescribing the same. All the data generated by the government funding should be available free of cost to all. And as far as ISRO is concerned, we are making arrangements. We are setting up our servers, everything, and to make this data available. Soon it will be available to all.
Yeah, I have just a couple of points. Actually, as we have been seeing, there is a large level of interest even among the citizens. And you already see a lot of voluntary observing efforts that are going on. And in fact, even as part of citizen science, there is a lot of observational efforts are going on privately. I think we should find a way to encourage them to join this National Data Archive so that that information also can be integrated. The other point is actually very, very important in terms of the climate data. That is the quality and homogeneity over a long period of time. This is possible only if we have, along with the data, all the metadata that is associated with the data, the observing conditions and how things are changing. I think this is very important for us to actually correct if there is an issue with the homogeneity or quality. I think this should be part of the observations and monitoring.
Sure.
Thank you, Dr. Kumar. And anyone else has any responses? Yeah.
Just one extension of Dr. Kohli word. Basically, this data homogeneity is all are interlinked, all the 5 pillars. And if most of the cases that climate station, we are not having metadata that comes from the observation. Once without the metadata, the data homogeneity which is lacking actually or throughout the world, very less countries they are considering the data homogeneity. And without data homogeneity, this climate change, many things is giving some wrong result. So we should, whenever they are developing, we should keep the metadata, which is very much essential for data homogeneity.
Correct.
And it will be data homogeneity comes under climate once it is there. So climate information systems, which is under that climate data management. So all data homogeneity and everything will come under this climate information system. But for that, information is required.
Yes, sir. That the point on quality will be slightly strengthened before submitting.
Quality is different thing. That,
yes, the metadata and associated parameters, environmental parameters.
All are related.
We
all
will,
are related.
we will. Got it.
Anyone else want to speak? Otherwise, I think, thank you. I'll just put some points on this. You have done a very excellent work. Your two presidents. Congratulations to you and our team for bringing out. See, if I just understand that, yes, we have to now just think about the outcome. What outcome we expect by data, or by acquiring data, by ensuring quality, by extending data, etc. The first and foremost outcome is that two kinds. One is that this data can be utilized in the model and hence can be forecast. What is that data can be provided to the stakeholders, users, various types of models can be generated, and hence applications can be extended. And in this direction, I'll just tell one example. So I think in 1960s or so, I think Mohapatra sahab or Raghuwanshi sahab will suggest, we started the DRMS, that is district-wise rainfall monitoring scheme. Until now, we are continuing with district-wise rainfall monitoring scheme. I ask myself and ask yourselves, When will we start block level rainfall monitoring scheme? When it will be BRMS instead of PRMS? Is it not high time to go for BRMS? There is demand, even the station specific informations, but we are still stuck up with that PRMS. My first priority will be, if it is the surface-based observations, we should go for developing block level rainfall monitoring scheme. That's the outcome statement. If you can agree from this NFCS, we can study that, yes, at least we should go for the BRMS. And if you go for that, what is the requirement? There are a lot of data. I will tell you, when I joined IMD in Bangalore, at that time, Karnataka government was organizing and preparing the block level data. So there are many states who have already the block level statistics. So we have to think, we have to go for homogeneity will be an issue. If it's not possible for the entire country to develop the block level, we can go for those areas where it is available. So for that purpose, the most important point is that, as Tagisab told, we should have a common platform where all types of observational data should be available from all sources, be it academic institutes or R&D institutes or state governments or Central Commission or other central agencies, and including IMD, Indian Air Force, Indian Navy, so many stations are there. So, and then we can just think about that, whether we can proceed in that direction. So that will help to a large extent the largest community, that is the agriculture, water resources, industries, and many others. The second point is that, yes, we have the data sparse region, that is remote sensing is very much essential. We should have the climatology of the Himalayan region. We should have the climatology over the oceans. And that will not only help as for day-to-day requirement, but also it will help in our modeling system and forecasting system itself. And that will be best for that reference forecast, even you can provide that. So that is another point what we have discussed. Yes, the ongoing process should go on. That
Sir, I'll
we
just
should have
slightly
the development.
The group is recording, no? The observation group, so that this Dr. Thomas.
I think all
letter-
these things what everybody is told, that should be recorded.
Please, thank
And
you.
finally, we should finalize.
Dr. Shijo is.
The second point, what I agree what you told, that QA QC, quality assurance and quality control, that is the ongoing job, but that should be felicitated. But we cannot stop the observations taken by the citizens. Observations by the crowdsourcing, which India Meteorology Department has introduced. The observations which have been collected by academic R&D institutes on a temporary basis. Sometimes they may not satisfy as per the strict requirement. That data can be utilized for some other purpose. That may not go to your core climate genesis analysis, which is required for world basis to define climate change, for example. The climate reference stations are there. But these data can be utilized for many other purposes, for example, urban climatology, where you may not find the space to establish that 10 meter by 10 meter area to have the rain gauge or other observational systems. So therefore, climatology can be developed with all the informations with very specific objectives. There can be flagging, yellow flag, orange flag, red flag, green flag, depending upon the quality, which is the standard. Many people are doing like that, and we are venturing towards that directions. And of course, the metadata. Yes, metadata is basic information required, and that we should maintain. Geospatial policy, as you told, that will go a long way. We have also proposed, sir, the national policy. We should have a policy. And already Minister of Agriculture, where India Meteorology Department is a part and parcel of that initiative, is going to have a common platform. And we are also trying for that common platform. We should have a common platform for all observations where all users can utilize it. There should not be any hindrance to accept the data and to contribute the data. Be the owner, be the participants, and be the user also. So that's the objective, and that should be the framework in this current context. Then comes the voluntary observations. Yes, there are many organizations who have come up equally. We should encourage them. If they have got the observations, they should share it. And maybe we may not be able to provide the financial support, but encouragement can be in any way. We can issue the certificates, we can have a stakeholder information on WhatsApp, etc. By that way also they will be interested and they will also contribute. As I told in my speech earlier, there will be a long way if we can develop the climatology based on remote sensor observations of satellite and radar, etc. for all those data sparse region where we can have these informations. Then another point was that R&D. Yes, R&D, there are various aspects of R&D. We can go for R&D based on data to develop the application tools, but there is also need for R&D for development of low-cost sensors, as Mr. Oselkar told, so that the people can afford it, government can afford it. At the same time also, being a leader, we can help all these poor countries I just want to mention here that India has committed to World Organizations to be a peer advisor to provide support to all these least developed countries, island nations, in terms of the observational systems. So for this purpose, low-cost sensor will go a long way, but it is ongoing. I don't know that within a day or within a season we'll get that. It will but there could be another source of R&D to assure the quality of the data, to assure the usability of the data, to assure so many, the homogeneity of the data, for example. So all these access, if data are available, then people can take off, academic institutes can take off. So there is a role of the knowledge partners. Academic and R&D institutes can be the knowledge partner to carry out the research in collaboration with all core agencies, including IMD, ISRO, and many others, and state government agencies also. Climate cell has come up in almost all states now. So therefore, they have got the people, they have got the resources, it can be carried out there. So these also will help to ensure the quality of the data, to ensure the availability of data and accessibility of the data. So I once again thank you, and your team for this excellent work.
Thank you.
Thank you, DGM sir, and thank you, Dr. Thomas, and your entire team for bringing out very in-depth proposed requirements in line with NFCS. I will call upon Dr. Surya Rao to, yeah, he's already here. Thank you, Dr. Surya Rao. And his group was research modeling and prediction.
Yeah.
So I'll request him.
Good morning, everyone. So yesterday we had a very fruitful discussions, though the time was very short. So the coordinator for this group was OP Srijit, and reported by Subdeep. And we had NCMRWF also participated in the discussion. Also NPTI also participated, and some state government from Nagaland also participated in this. So the questions that are given to all of us are that who are the key stakeholders for different sectors that will be interested in NFCS. So we have looked at this whole concept in terms of research, modeling, and prediction. So who can contribute or who can get benefited from these products? That is what we look at it. And if you remember yesterday's discussion, that we have noticed that most of the user sectors are not really aware of what climate information is available, and they are not even using. And when you have called for NFCS meeting, they have been telling about weather information and how they are using weather information for their application sectors. So climate information is something that they are not even aware of it. So considering that all that, what we have come up with the key stakeholders for RMP, for developing research, modeling, and prediction in this, for this pillar are IITM, IMD, NCMRWF, INCOIS, power sector. Both today morning we had this presentation from Grid, and also NPTI, ICAR, NWA, that is National Water Academy of CWC, and academic institutes. So all these can really contribute to this research, modeling, and prediction pillar very efficiently. So what is the current status? When we look at what is the current status that is available, as we can see from only few presentations, very few are using the climate information, but what is available are the seasonal forecasts are available, extended range forecasts are available, and also climate projections are available, and decadal predictions started but not yet operationalized. So these are the current status of predictions that are available to various users and different sectors. And coming to the major gaps, there are so many are there actually. So I try to put only a few of them. So if you look at the climate prediction, the extended range prediction skill is limited to 2 weeks. So not beyond 2 weeks. 3 weeks and 4th week predictions are needs to be improved further. So that is one of the major gap that we need to work on. And when it comes to seasonal forecasts, we have only one index that is ASMR, All India Summer Monsoon Rainfall. That is not really useful for developing sector applications. So in addition to that, we also started giving homogeneous regions informations, also monsoon core region. So that is also not very good enough for creating these sector applications. So then the biggest problem that we noticed in the group was is that communication between user sector people and the climate product generators. So there were some examples were given that somebody is using information from the models and trying to see that compare the model lowest level winds with the mast height winds, and definitely you will not get a good correlation or good usefulness because you don't know what are the limitations of the models. So you are just using it as it is. So then you are thinking that the climate information is not very good enough. So the biggest bottleneck in this whole research, prediction, and modeling framework is that communication. The communication between the product generators and also the sector applications who are using the modeling for doing that. So to overcome that, what we have proposed is that we have to build a capacity building is one of the pillars that is required for all the groups. But most importantly, in this pillar, research, modeling, and prediction, we need to create first a data set of what is available, not only from the climate perspective, from the user sector specific perspective as well. For example, the yield of crop yield data. If somebody wants to do some exercise using seasonal forecasts and try to get some information about what is the crop yield at different states or something, you don't have such data available to the climate product generators. Similarly, the climate product, as morning DJ was mentioning, we are giving climate forecasts, but what are the problems with those models? That information is not available to the sectors. What are the biases? What are the problems? For example, when Indian Ocean dipole is coming in the Indian Ocean, we don't get a proper teleconnection in the model, so you don't get proper forecast at that time. So if you don't know what is the problem with the models, they are inbuilt or they are yet to be resolved, you will not be able to use it efficiently. So one of the biggest recommendations that we wanted to make to this group is that we should have all data, no matter whether it is climate data or satellite data or sector specific data, everything should be available freely in a one single platform. Then only NFCS can become really successful. Otherwise, this exercise is not going to lead anywhere. So coming to capacity needs, as I mentioned rightly, many people, we don't even know what is climate information. When I had discussion with many people, when I say that climate information, they only think that it is global warming or climate prediction. So that is what is their perspective, and that has to be changed. So the capacity building has to happen from that stage where you have to educate the sector specific users and how to use it, that information. That is one thing that is required. And most importantly, there should be frequent, at least every season, there should be a workshop between climate product generators and the people who are using this information and running their models. So for example, so many people are running hydrology models, and when they do it, each one of them calibrate differently. So why these calibration parameters are different for different people is very difficult to understand. It is more like a black box. Because I'm getting good results, I just change some parameter in the hydrology model. Similarly, agriculture models. So I think we should have some uniform way of doing things. That is possible only if all the data is available to everyone. So that is one thing, that at least every season
after climate forecasts are made, both sector users and the users who have generated that information have to come sit together and see what are the forecasts you are giving for each sector based on this information. So whether the information that you are actually using correctly or not can be told from the climate generators, climate product generators, and also can understand what is your requirement, the sector specific requirements, how you want to use information and how you are using it, whether are you using it really correctly or not. So this workshop should be at least for each season, we should have one workshop in the initial stages. Then the seamless transfer of knowledge from both sides will happen. And in the long term, what we wanted is that once all these models, the modeling activity for different sectors, everything is stabilized, all these products should be available so that calibration can happen. Also, validation also can happen seamlessly. So for that, again, we need to have strong observational component. That without observations, research and modeling will not start. So that is where one of the strong interaction that is required between research, modeling and prediction group and observation group. Of course, capacity building is common for everybody. So this is the cross pillar interactions required. With that, I'm done. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Surya. And indeed, you spoke not only about your pillar, maybe the other 4 pillars that we are dealing with it, that also are covered because they all are cross-connected. So thank you. I will request DG Sab in case he has any comments. Yeah, if there are any responses from the participants here.
Thank you, Surya. And 2 points. One is, see, we have good modelers. As of now, this state of modeling skills and all that. And in-house MOS institutions are doing great job. How do you find the interaction and inputs from the academic and the other research institutions in improving the models? Is it a need of national level to promote that interaction? Second is model, say climate model or weather model provides some outputs. Now, whether it is applicable, the application modules, which is to be sectorally specific, is it going to be the responsibility of climate modeler or somebody else, the interfacing which is required with the sectoral part? So why people are not able to use the data, like you said, that 2 meter requirement when model may be at 10 meters or 20 meters, is essentially that reason. So who is going to do that? What is your expectation?
Yeah. So coming to the first question, is it MOS alone is sufficient to develop these climate models? I don't agree with that. Is that everybody has to participate in developing that. Of course, MOS has made big strides, and as Mohapatra Sahab was telling in the morning, we really became a leader in modeling today. So academic institutes and sector specific ministries, they all should come together to really work on models. So coming to whether is it the responsibility of the climate modelers to develop the sector applications, I don't think that is correct. But as a climate modeler, we have to understand what is the requirement properly. Without understanding that requirement, we will not be able to really serve the sectors very good. So that's why the interaction between these two groups. See, there are a lot of modeling activities happening in sectors also. That is what I came to know yesterday. And I'm very impressed with presentations from agriculture sector, hydrology and power. So they are really doing good modeling. And today's morning, somebody was mentioning that demand forecast and RE forecast. For that, they need seasonal forecast. So, but seasonal forecast at what time scale you need, or what spatial scale you need, that is also again things you need to understand. And how do we do it? Yesterday also we discussed that AML is catching up very fast, and we should use it to bridge this gap between what is there in the climate models limitations and what is the expectations. So to bridge that, we have to use AML models also. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Surya. Please.
To just re-emphasize what Surya was telling, what I think that modelers and stakeholders should sit together and understand each other's requirements and what stakeholders need at that levels, modelers should be able to provide at that level. Now from the modeling, the problem is that near surface variables are not very reliable because model doesn't address those near surface fields. So it is just getting a average effect of over a grid distance depending on the resolution. So when you come to just simply go to interpolation to a near surface field, it won't be correct. We have to take into account many factors like terrain, local terrain, and all those things. And the users also should have the knowledge of the limitations of the model. So they both should come together, and once you only the stakeholders only verify, they don't know what they are verifying. There has to be a standardization of that data. What is the quality of the data of the stakeholder? That should be ensured. So then only so because it is whether it is IMD standard that observation is made, that also should be focused. What is the quality of the data they are comparing, and both the parties should compare independently. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your response. And there is one more person on the fourth row.
That was a very comprehensive presentation indeed. The important thing that came up with the discussions after your presentation is that who develops the application-oriented interface programs? It's probably true that the Earth system science approach is the one where we should resort to because that has the potential to develop indices and parameters pertaining to soil and vegetation and so on and so forth. And the applications of climate actually come from there. So that is the place which should be made available to the entire community so that they can put in their modules and extract the information that is required of them and to validate these models, Earth system models.
Actually, I also used to have the same thinking that sector-specific applications are not really developed. But yesterday's and today's discussions and presentations, I was really surprised that a lot of modeling work is happening in those sectors also. So there are a lot of work has already started. Only thing is that as a group that we felt is that is required is the communication. Unless you improve this communication, they are using it on their, so we are doing it in different cubicles and not even interacting. That is the biggest problem. So once that happens, most of the things will be resolved. That is what we believe.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, I have just something to add because I belong to the same group.
Yeah.
The two things actually, as he has already mentioned about that capacity building. So working for last 32 years in the industry, what I found that ground level capacity building actually, if you do not do, suppose if you do not come out with that bottom up approach, as long as we have to do both the ways. I mean, top down approach for the macro to below, and also the bottom up approach to meet that actually our objectives. First thing. So that actually capacity building or the training is very critical, and where people need to understand that's modeling part, how to appreciate it. First to start with that appreciation of the same, and going forward to modeling part of it. Second thing is that what I was trying to, what we had yesterday discussing about it, and he did mention just now that AI machine learning plan. I tried in many contexts actually in the different businesses, I mean different domains. Be it finance and even to the oil industry, crude oil price forecasting in case of actually London crude oil pricing. So apart from econometric modeling, I applied actually AI machine learning, and we got very good result. So I had a discussion with Dr. Rajiv Chattopadhyay earlier also. If we can collaborate actually and bring that actually tools and techniques into play, and where actually we need to validate that whatever the econometric modeling actually are being placed today can be substantiated with the AI deep learning. I mean, deep learning stops. And I'm pretty sure that in some of the cases, I'm pretty sure that for short-term forecasting, and also to that extent of middle, what is that called?
Medium
Midterm.
range.
Yeah, midterm it is expected to give, because if it is 2-3 days, in many cases I got very good result in finance industry, oil industry, and retail across the globe. I'm talking about what I did across the globe.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Gautam. And I'm sure, in all this type of moderator presentations, there will be a lot of responses who were not part of the team also, and there could be some fresh inputs also. So I will request all those inputs, they can be communicated by email or something like that. We don't want to miss them, but because of the short of time, we will not be able to accommodate them here while discussion. I'll give microphone to Dr. Mohapatra. Sir, mic is there.
Thank you, Dr. Surya and your team. Excellent work in this group also. And this topic was also quite fast. Research, modeling, and climate products. And this follows the data group. And as Dr. Surya has told, you cannot distinguish the various components, especially the data and research, modeling, and climate prediction groups. And with all your suggestions, very good recommendations have come up in this particular group. So I just want to summarize that the first and foremost thing is that what has come out from this workshop, that awareness is lacking.
Yes.
Unlike weather, climate awareness is lacking. For us, we have been accustomed, but I will tell you, if you just get up in the morning, you look at the sky to find out the climate, the weather, whatever it is, and we believe in that climate, that morning shows the day. But when nothing was there, the society believed that morning shows the day. If morning is clear sky, the entire day will be clear sky. So that was the climatology adopted by the human being without any observation systems, without modeling system, forecasting system. But now when we have the models, so therefore you need that type of climatology. And there are two types of climatology. One is the climatology based on the observational data. That we have discussed so far. I will just request upon you that there should be the model climatology. Model climatology should be available for each and every model. That should be available to the stakeholders. That common platform should be available to the model climatology, and the systematic errors, biases, the performance, etc., skills should be available, so that every stakeholder knows about the model. Every stakeholder knows about the efficacy of the model, limitations of the model, and then only he can see how it can be utilized. So therefore, all these things can be brought up. So awareness campaign. So awareness campaign, when I talk of, there are many aspects in awareness campaign. One is that the preparation of this data will contribute towards the awareness campaign. So if you have the awareness, you should have the information first. The information required for the awareness has to be generated, or if it is generated, it has to be accumulated, it has to be made public in a common platform. The second point is that there should be a very simple public awareness, or it is the stakeholder awareness. Depending upon that, we should have simple module, maybe audiovisual module, or maybe textual module, or maybe some kind of process, or we can have some kind of leaflets in different local languages, or in terms of English and Hindi. That will go a long way to make people aware, just like we have done the awareness in weather front. The third point is that the IEC materials, as I told you, there can be IEC materials developed in combination with all the stakeholders and ourselves. It will not be limited only to the Ministry of Earth Sciences. All can work together. Just like, for example, NDMA has brought out the IEC materials for all types of disasters. Similarly, we can bring out for this purpose, we can have those. Every state has got a state climate cell now. Because of the 10-point action plan of the Honorable Prime Minister, we have got a state climate cell. So that state climate cell and our Ministry of Earth Sciences, they have very good bonding, so that in the awareness campaign also, what can be taken up together. With respect to the prediction, yes, there is a seamless prediction system. We have come up with the seasonal forecast. Earlier, forecast. The point where it is lacking, that I will point out. Some kind of the word seamless is still theoretical. Still theoretical. It is not practical at present. If I am giving, and what we do subjectively, what we do, I'll tell you what we did in the last monsoon season. We try to do it subjectively, and hence we modified the long-range forecast of the models and issued the forecast to the public. So that is that can be done objectively, and that is a seamless mechanism to link the seasonal forecast with the external forecast extended forecast with the short to medium forecast, so that that can be helpful not only for the system enhancement, but also for the people, those who are facing the public and the stakeholders, they can also do that. That type of capacity building is also needed for our forecasters, our researchers, developers, and the climate modelers. Then next point, what I want to say that, yes, we have come a long way. The spatial forecast we have come up, that multimodal based and several based spatial forecast we are providing, but people what they want actually, they want very specific information, whether subdivision, climate information can be provided, or state information, or the district information, or the river catchment information, for example. So that type of exercise, that there is the R&D part, and that should be taken up, whether you can downscale the spatial domain or the temporal domain, and then accordingly. So on the upscaling the domain, yes, you have told that already we have got seasonal scale, whether we have to plan for annual predictions, or already we are providing an annual prediction.
No, decade predictions started, but they are not operational so far.
Not operational. So there are certain centers who have gone for the 5-year forecast, for example, the Capt office. So we will think about that, whether we can, in view of the climate change challenges and view of the expectations of the climate change applications, so we can, whether we can have this type of, say for example, when you got good rainfall activity for monsoon for continuously 4 years now, this year also we have the good rainfall activity. So people are asking, so whether it changed that recorded epoch, whether it started. That knowledge base also, that climate groups also provide the knowledge base, even if we are not providing the forecast for say 10 decades or 1 decade or 5 years, etc. But that understanding should also go to public, as you told correctly. So that should think about. So therefore, communication with users and providers, that is possible only if we go for workshop and interaction meeting users, just like we have done today. That should be practice, say at least once in a year, and more frequently.
I said once in a season.
Stakeholders, once in a season. That should carry out. And training is essential. So when for capacity building, I will tell you, I look at capacity building in 3 angles. One is the capacity building for development of the organizations. We do not have organization. For weather forecasting, we have got good organization. And the work carried out by the MCs with respect to climate is very meager. So therefore, we should think about to improve the organizational capacity for the climate related services. And that can carry out at the state level, again, just like we have got to understanding with weather, the climate cell of each and every state and the climate group of each and every MC should work together with supervision from, say, IITM and Center of Development, all organizations of the Ministry of Arts and Sciences. So to develop that organization. And within that, again, we have got 3-tier organizations. Similarly, there also there are 3-tier organizations to percolate it into districts and blocks, the information about the climate. The second point is that knowledge-based capacity building. The knowledge-based capacity building will come from the training. We should have each individual training for each and every stakeholder, say for the agriculture sector or the water sector or the industry sector or the aviation sector. Everywhere for climate information training is to be conducted. That is the knowledge-based. Then comes the third one, the technology-based capacity building. See, climate cell has come up in many states. They requested, I also requested Krishnan Saab. Sometimes I may have talked to you, I don't know. But I have talked to Krishnan Saab at effort, and we've got some kind of meeting also with some states. They need also some kind of technology development. How to interpret, how to carry out the analysis in the climate cell, whatever data are available to them. So for that purpose also, some kind of hand-holding, some kind of technology transfer, some kind of building up the capacity is essential in the state level and the district, whatever it is. So for example, in the absence of all these climatological information to them, mostly the climate cells are carrying out the climate change exercise. They have brought up the people to carry out the RCM, regional climate modeling, and find out what the impact of the climate change. But the climate service is not limited only to the climate change, as you told. There are many such applications which can help to minimize the loss of lives and property and enhance the socio-economic developments and optimize information of this one. Then next comes the models to services. For models to services, we have to develop some kind of decision support system. Climate-based decision support system. Just like we have the weather-based decision support system, the climate-based decision support system has to be developed. For this purpose, each subgroup, say for example, agriculture or industry, or for example, aviation, or example, the water resources, we should have a decision support system. These are the climate informations. These are the weather informations. You know, what you can do for this particular season, or what you can do for this particular year, or for this particular month. So that decision can be arrived with the help of a decision support system. That we should think about that. If we can do that, then it will be very helpful for that. Yes, of course, we have to go for rigorous and standardized capacity building through workshops, seminars, and users' interactions. So I once again thank you very much and your team for this excellent report and the contribution towards an FCS. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Surya Rao and your entire team. And indeed, I'm sure whatever inputs, responses that we have received and discussed, I think the final report from you will come. Now we have Dr. Pulak Guhathakurta. He'll be moderating on climate services group. Over to Dr. Pulak.
Thank you, Dr. Hosalikar and Honorable DGM. Yes. So actually, our group was on climate information system, and what we think this is the basically one of the most important in the 5 pillars, because actually climate information system is if it is having a strong information system which includes the past climate data, present climate and projection, prediction, as well as that scientific based user specific level product, climate product, which is actually needed by and that information is basically missing. We are not, so that we have, and in our team, we are lucky to have some of the experts like our Tyagi Sahab and Rup Kumar ji, and as well as some of the state government of representative from state Kerala and other states and INCOES, and also our IMD team from regional center as well as center and Pune office. So we have given actually basically four areas. The first is the key stakeholders in the country. As we think that basically almost in the presentation yesterday, we have seen almost all the sectors, including agriculture, water, health, power, energy, basically are dependent on the climate services. So collaboration, which is basically lagging, the collaboration, coordination between these numerous stakeholders, basically so many agencies, they are having climate data, and we have seen they are generating some of the climate product, which may not be, for that coordination, it should be standardized climate information, simply using some of the data, producing and showing in their website. It may be misleading. So it should have coordination with all agencies together, state government, central government, private agencies, also institution, that who are having the specific climate data they are having, and who need also that climate specialized info climate as well as specialized information linked to climate. I just regarding that, I tell that we have had climate state action plan. So far as I know, that all states they are having state action plan, but not a single state they are approached to climate Pune Climate Service Office for this development. They have. I know that some of the states simply copied some of the information from IMD website, gathered some information, and recruited some consultancy and prepared that climate action plan document. So for that, actually, it is needed that whenever state action plan, all coordination should be there. So that is missing as we thought. So these are the first point. Then second is the most crucial current status measured gaps, and so we all know that there are so much from IMD and our regional offices, so much climate information are available in IMD websites, as well as some of the state they are generating that standardization is missing there, but that users are not aware of the climate. They are simply seeing the climate data, asking a lot of that requirement of data has been increased too much, because due to that our climate data portal, we are getting climate, but there are, in addition to climate data, there are a lot of products are available. Users are not knowing that, And main gap is that that is between that stakeholders and IMD and other climate data holders, we can generate that user specific with mutual interaction, coordination, research. So that is actually missing. So we need that more that stakeholders should come forward, discuss with us and to generate that climate information. That is a major gap of this. So awareness as well as availability of climate change, that is missing. Now sharing of the data, we are facing the long back. The data sharing is the now mentioned that national geospatial data sharing policy is there. There every whatever generated from the public fund, it should be shared. But in spite of that, many state government see, long back we have the rainfall registration IMD set up in 1875. In 1886, there was a rainfall registration regulation. In that, it was clearly mentioned all state government, which is from the public fund generated, it should be shared with the National Meteorological Survey Authority, that is India Met Department. In spite of that, many states, they are refusing. Still, we are not getting simple rainfall data. In addition, there are so many data, they are not sending. Unless we have the long period, long series of data, we cannot generate. And as a result, so many products we have generated, some of the state districts, but we have very minimum number of stations to generate the climatology. So that is the lagging. We should come forward to share the data. Lack of information on sector-specific needs, and most important that this is okay, but we need sector-specific stakeholder meeting for water sector, agriculture, in order to get that information. So every sector separately we should come, means all sector, water sector come together. But whenever we have seen that we are having a South Asian Climate Outlook Forum, we have seen that whenever we are trying to get water sector representative, there is a less importance. They are not responding. We are not getting actual that the stakeholders not coming forward. So we need that type of collaboration from the sectors for each sector wise. Now again confusion previous that. So what is it is the interlinking all 4 pillars, 5 pillars. It is it's a climate information system includes research, modeling, means a linkage. We have to work together with the other pillar, research, modeling and prediction. It should not be only modeling. See, climate user for research needed for generating the user-specific product. So we should not misinterpret that group with the only modeling group. It is not modeling on projection. So, as well as user interface. How to, with user interface, we get the input with the meeting with the and climate information system, get the input feedback to the research committee. So it is interlinked as well as observation. So it is linked. So collaboration needed for interlinking with all the 5 pillars with this. Now regarding recommendation, we have seen that unless, as I told, that data sharing everything, unless we have we convince that office with the PMO office that to set up NFCS mission, because we have seen that health mission, once this mission mode it will come, then only there is a rules, regulation, and they have to follow that mission. They can share the data. Then, so it should be under this national mission, that is under climate change. So that is, whereas this is immediately we can, that is short term, that is to establish multidisciplinary national climate forum, where we can discuss, we can meet together every year or sometimes 6 monthly. Climate forum, we take the feedback from the members of the forum, and we can improve our documents or planning, and that's all.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Pulak and your team for bringing out the crux of what is needed, especially strengthening of and establishing of NFCS. Before we go for the chair, I'll take the responses, one or two responses from, due to the short of time, from the participants here. If there are any responses or your views upon it.
It was just a small suggestion. We aren't talking of the transport sector.
All sector, we have 5 pillars. We have mentioned 5 priority areas. It actually
No, if you go to slide number 1, you have specifically mentioned user sectors: agriculture, water, health, power, energy. Transportation is missing in this.
no. We have mentioned nearly every sector, including these. These are 5. Yes, sir. Sorry. So we
Okay, you can think of many other sectors like the urban sectors, but
Yeah, there are many. There are many.
No, but
many. Tourism. Normally, we are providing
Yeah, we
private
agree.
information
No.
for tourism, transport.
I understand, but I want to make the thinking very clear in this, that all of them are some function of these sectors' activity. An urban sector is basically health, power, energy.
Yeah.
So you need not mention it as a sector. This is a sector where certain natural systems are involved in the process. And that's why I said that urban sector cannot be considered here. The education sector obviously not here. Tourism sector not here, because they all map onto these 5. But tourism does not map onto these 5.
Yeah, thank you. We will definitely look into that. Yeah. Dr. Kumar.
Yeah, there's one point that didn't come out very clearly, is that CSIS is a kind of operational core of the GFCS, where all the operational information is produced. In this, there is one fundamental element, that is cascading of information from global to regional to national level. This is built into the CSIS, and I think in this we have stakeholders who are outside our national domain. That is, you have regional stakeholders and global stakeholders. I think we need a very close coordination with the WMO systems that are part of, that will be supporting CSIS. Without that, CSIS cannot succeed. I think we should not lose sight of that aspect and make sure that that is.
Yeah, we can keep that link here.
Yeah.
You know, maybe the reporter is noting this point. Thank you, Dr. Pulak. I'll request Chair Dr. Mohapatra Sahab to.
Sir, thank you very much, Dr. Pulak, and your entire team. Again, very excellent work on climate services information system. By name, I assume that you are talking about the system. You are not talking about the important other information system. This is a system which is developed.
Yes.
Okay, assuming that there is no such system, but it's not the fact. The system is still there. We have got the information system in IMD for the climate. It is to be augmented. The climate services information system. Okay, in the name of the banner of that, we have to do whatever you have suggested. So one point I just want to mention here, the identification of stakeholders, you have told that. So whatever it is, I think there is no such sector which is not affected by the weather and climate. Okay, and when I talk about the various stakeholders, they say that yes, they are utilizing IMD informations, but we do not know who is utilizing it. So what I suggest, there should be some kind of proactive campaign along with the state government to identify the stakeholders. Identification of the key stakeholders, whatever you mentioned, I think stakeholders, key stakeholders. Each and every stakeholder we can identify. I will tell you, everyone is utilizing, be it forest or be it rivers, or everywhere, everyone is utilizing climate information from the chemical department. It's a fact.
Yes.
But we do not have the dialogue, we do not have the consultation. So therefore, what you have heard, it is a need of the hour. Therefore, the first and foremost step will be the identification of stakeholder. In a massive campaign mode, at the state level, with all our existing organizations, we can carry out, we can take help of other organizations like ISRO and the Central Commission and many others those are present here in each and every state to identify. Especially I request all the states, please send the stakeholders list. I will tell you on the banner of the climate cell, the state has identified the various stakeholders. I have gone through it. In some states, they have identified a long list. You can find out in the concerned state who are utilizing the climate information and who can be affected by the climate information or the climate change, etc. So only thing is that we have to consolidate, we have to start the dialogue, we have to find out what is the requirement, what data they need, and we have to go for awareness campaign, as you have told, and workshops, etc. This is common to all. Coordination of other pillars, yes, certainly, yes, we have to, because no pillar can go independently, we have to depend upon each other. Then I'm very happy that, yes, a National Climate Forum that has been suggested, yes, there should be, it is cross-cutting, all talents should be taken together, and we should have a forum for that purpose. And cascading, yes, it is, Rukma Saab has told correctly, we have to follow it out, starting with WMO, then we have got the global players, then we've got the regional players, then national players. We are acting as regional climate center. And through the regional climate center, we are providing information. Climate information is also being provided. There is a system. And we have got the global centers also. We have got the PCP, I think we have applied for that also, I think already recognized. Yeah, already recognized. So we have the global center itself. We have the global centers, we have the regional centers, also we have the national centers. Now it should percolate in the country. Again, there should be some kind of cascading. From the national center, it should go to, again, regional and state and district. And so that there should be information percolation to the last mile. So we can think about that. Then, of course, NFC's mission, what is told here, there are, I think, 8 missions at present on the climate change, and 11. Now it is 11 now. Okay, 3 more is added. So therefore, this proposal can go. You can tell that on the climate change. The science component, I think, from our side, it is missing in those missions. It has been taken care of other things. That's right. Yeah. So therefore, we can think about that. We can try to convince, and if possible, that will be taken up. But otherwise, what should go on in that mission mode? Whether it is included in that or not, our ministry and IMD and our organizations work towards the directions in the mission mode, so that it is a reality. So thank you very much once again to you and your investment.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Dr. Pulak and your entire team. Definitely, we will expect this amended report from your team, if possible today. I'll request Dr. D.S. Pai as a moderator for giving his inputs and his thoughts over the user interface platform. Over to Dr. Pai. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hasalikar. So actually, my topic is about a user interface platform, and the group coordinator was Dr. Niranjan Kumar and rapporteur Dr. Divya Surendran, and we had an excellent 15 scientists yesterday from various user sectors as well as a service provider. So before I go to user interface, we have to define what is the stakeholders of climate information in India particularly. So mainly you can divide them into 3 categories: climate service provider, and you can see communication, translation, and dissemination services, and the climate service end users. So unless you understand, it will be difficult to talk about the user interface. So you'll see that under climate service provider, at the top is the IMD. It's supported by research modeling centers like IITM, NCMRWF, INCOIS, and many other research centers. They mainly provide the data, climatology, real-time monitoring, forecast, projection, capacity building, etc. These are the providers. And at the same time, these services, whatever provided by the main climate service provider, it get value-added products by experts from sectors like climate sensitive, like agriculture, disaster management, water, health, energy, etc. So these sector again, and then you have got what you call boundary organization. They are very important in the sense that, like paper and electronic media, internet, all this media, they are the people who actually communicating this service information, translation, and then dissemination. So all are important. But then finally, it is used by national level end users like policy makers, government planners, administration, etc. So preparing law or various how it should be work, preparing SOP, how rescue action should be taken. All this policy decision is taken by them. And the final beneficiary, last mile users, like your smallhold farmers, vulnerable community, general public, etc., fishermen, etc. And then if you see that what is the use of, so before I go to recommendation, just to understand, need for a user interface, why it is important. The challenges created by climate change are complex and wide-ranging, and the process for dealing with them efficiently are still evolving. It is inevitable that the sectors that are sensitive to the climate and important for the well-being, safety, and security of the society don't have all the right answers actually. So that's why it is very important, this user interface. I will go again, well defined on that. In fact, no one does. Neither we have got, none of these people have right answer. We have to all slowly come out. And only by trying different approaches and crucially asking and sharing what is important, what worked and what did not, can they develop robust solution. So that is why this workshop itself is very important, because by sharing information, you can come up with our solution. So simply, only one person cannot give. So you have to continuously work on that. For this, engagement and communication are essential, not only to share information and data, good practice and showcase successes, because some state might have achieved some success, the other state in some other. So you have to all come up with the share the information, then only you can come up with this type of framework and to explore what lessons can be learned from them. This is important to focus on information that are essential for the users and for better decision making. Therefore, stakeholder engagement and communication are increasingly central to effective management of climate risk. So therefore, when we frame the national framework for climate services, this we have to keep in mind that continuous stakeholders engagement and improving the services continuously, only we can reach to the goals. Now, as already we have been discussing various pillars of the climate services, coming to the user interface platform, it is the most novel component for GF, global forecasting, global framework for climate system, or in the sense NFCS also. The strengthening the engagement of providers and users of climate. So actually it provides the platform for engagement with the users and as well as the provider. Provide ways for climate service users and providers to monitor requirement for climate services. Many times what happened is that those who are generating the climate services, they always tell that we generate this and try to use. We never bother about to ask the users what you need and what capability we have got. And then they will come up with that, if you have this capability, can we go to this? So slowly, then only you will reach to that. But most of the time you will see that in any discussion, climate service provider, they will say, this is best, this is best, this is best, and they will fill up all the recommendation. Then users, it has to actually come from the users and keep on engaging. You have to keep on refining the framework. Then only we can achieve the final thing. So this, therefore, again, I am saying this workshop is very important. Assistance in interpreting various climate information products and in collaboration with relevant stakeholders, helping identify a sensible set of decision options. So by having this type of user, having a user interface, this can be achieved. Increase the literacy of climate service users. Actually, we have been, from last 2 days, we have been discussing, many people even do not know the difference between what weather services and climate services, what is actually users itself mean, what are the climate service providers. So you have to distinguish something and you have to keep on updating. So not only the users should understand, at the same time what users should know, that should be understood by the climate service providers also. Monitor user satisfaction with the overall performance of the framework. So this is why the user interface is most important. Now, based on yesterday's input, I am just recommending just a format of what user interface platform for India should be. So that is just I come up with a figure also based on the input. A user interface platform should be a technological infrastructure that serves as a user-friendly portal or interface to interface the which stakeholders can access and interact with the climate-related information and service. So it should be a single window where all this information is available there. So first of all, integration, integrating data from various sources such as meteorological agencies, research institution, and international organization to provide comprehensive climate information. Here it will become observational data, all kind of observational data, model data, sectorial data, all has to become in a same, all the data has to be integrated together. And then that platform should have a good accessibility, ensuring that the platform is accessible to users with a diverse technological capabilities and needs. Somebody may not be very good in technology, they also should be easily understood. Somebody will have good knowledge of that. So all you should be servable to all type of society, all kind of people. Even those who do not know mobile users also, how we can help them. Whether voice can be done or a message can be done. So these all will come under that category. And then data visualization, presenting the climate data and information through interface and user-friendly visualization, including the maps, graphs, and charts. And in fact, users should have a there should be this interface should provide accessibility, and they should able to prepare their own information what they need, kind of maps or graph should be able to generate, so that they can depend on this platform itself. Customization, allowing users to customize and filter data and series based on their specific needs and preferences. The same platform will provide whatever information you want to generate, that can be done. So yesterday, many people had suggested this, and similarly, alerts and notification, providing timely alerts and notifications related to earlier events, climate anomalies, and offer relevant information. So that also should be available from this platform. And finally, another two important is that feedback mechanism, because there should be continuously, we should have a channel should be established for users to provide feedback on the usefulness and accuracy of climate services, which can inform improvements. So along with this information, continuously you should have a feedback. And finally, education and training, offering resources and training materials for users to understand and interpret climate data and services. So these all together actually, there should be to enter science-based, technology-based, all this information provided to the users. And actually there should be continuous interaction between service provider, boundary, organization and users. That actually forms the user interface. That's why I said it is the most important aspect of the climate services. Now, along with that, further recommendation, I will go 2 more slides, which came from the thing. Some of them are already discussed, so I will not go very detailed into that. A data sharing policy should be developed for weather and climate data and associated sectoral data. Always, it is not enough that only weather and climate data is not enough. You also need sectorial data. Otherwise, climate services will not be full, or you will not be provided efficient climate services. Help states in establishing data bank and knowledge repository for storing and retrieving climate information relevant to all the climate sensitive sectors. Because Uttarakhand requirement and Kerala's requirement is different. You have got one mountainous region, their requirements are different, but observation system should be there, what type of climate information is there, and the southernmost, the coastal state, that is different. So specific to the state, we should help them to make a data bank relevant to them. All the relevant information tailor-made for a climate sector should be available through user-friendly website or mobile app based on single platform. So already, which I had discussed there, showed you the form. Conduct state-level climate outlook forums followed by user forums, preferably in local language. That is very important to interact with the users, to provide a platform to discuss available climate predictions, to encourage use of the seasonal forecast for sectorial application. This can be done just after every seasonal prediction is being done. And similarly, most important aspect also is the cost-benefit analysis of climate-informed decision-making for convincing users to maximize the utility of the climate information in the decision. So we have to convince also users, because this is a cost benefit to you, etc. Making process and policy makers to make appropriate policies and investment. The final slide. regular awareness, because since it is being users related, this is also very important to have a regular awareness programs for last mile users community on climate variability and climate change, and educate more on the joint responsibility to minimize the impacts and changing the wrong perceptions. Many times you will see that, community, there is a, the people say that when the water level is down in certain places, groundwater, people simply, you might have seen that many experts also say that it is because of the climate change, or users may have got a misconception that it's because of climate change. It is rather actually because of over extraction of the water. There is no provision for discharging, and then we all put blame on climate change. So we have to distinguish between what is happening locally and climate change. So this has to be made aware to the last mile users. Require state level permanent training and capacity building arrangement for imparting basic knowledge and about climate change and climate services to all the newly joined state government officials, particularly the administration, because they are not available when they take finance people, etc. If they do not know the seriousness of what is this climate services and its utility, you will stuck all your programs will stuck somewhere. So you also have to educate them, climate sensitive sectoral community, media, etc. And for conducting refresher courses, awareness classes for working government official and other stakeholders. That has to be continuously done. Research network for taking up collaborative work among climate community, climate sensitive user sector and other stakeholders. Perhaps this can be done sectorial wise, and people can actually, it need not be this type of workshop calling all the people separately. Water community can separately have a meeting and they can raise their own feedback, and other sector they can do. And there should be a feedback mechanism between climate service providers and end users for continuous improvement in the generation of relevant information, its delivery, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Pai Saab, and to your entire team for bringing out the very intrinsic information on user interface. It's always heartening to hear from Dr. Pai when the topic of climate comes, and you have almost identified many points. Probably, maybe one point which immediately comes to my mind is whether it is relevant here or not, but maybe there could be some economic impact assessment from the user interface group also, that for the climate information that is being provided. So far, probably, if it is not attempted, we can think of this type of input also. The cost-benefit analysis gave me that trigger. In fact, from that only I picked up the word, maybe the economic impact assessment that can be definitely planned. So before I move to the chair, I will request one or two responses from the participants here on user interface, because they're all coming from the user side. Yeah. Anybody wants to make any inputs or derive any inputs or any comments on? Yeah.
Sir, in your slide, maybe the previous one. Yeah, alerts and notifications. So there you have softly touched upon the weather events also. So are we going to cover weather events as well as a part of climate services in alerts and notification?
Yeah. So this all come alerts about climate, drought or
about weather events. I'm still on that page itself to make a clear distinction between climate services and weather services. If we are accommodating weather services into it, I am for it.
Yeah,
we should, because users.
Climate also.
Yes, because from users' point, identifying users very important. I mean, yours presentation was something that I was looking forward to. But yes, from a user's point of view, someone who doesn't understand, we work with the grassroots level women also, slum women, to whom, how do they receive the information for early warnings? And how do they utilize it is something that I'm thinking. I've seen them, modifying their own early warning system from Jaipur office going to a Jodhpur slum. I've seen those things. So I'm just trying to think from that point, yeah.
See, in the morning, DGM sir was telling, when extreme rainfall happens, you want to know it is the highest ever. So if sometime, if rainfall happens, a lot of flooding can happen, in that area. So if this is highest ever, definitely it is going to be much more worse. So this type of climate information combined with your weather information will improve. That is why this alert. So alert is given. This is the highest ever temperature, rainfall. Though it is a climate information, it actually helps in better appreciating the weather.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Abhiyant. Actually, this makes me, one point to appreciate here, that all our participants here are reading the entire slides one by one, word by word they are reading. So he could capture one word, which was their weather. So this is something really very heartening. It's just not people listening, but they are very watchful what contents are being displayed here and being taught. This is really very good. This will help the entire system that we are looking at. Any other responses? Yes, please.
Same, my suggestion on that alert and notification. Yesterday we have discussed this part also. Like in weather prediction and early warnings, if we use AI and ML technology to give the warnings, because the climate warnings may be not useful for the end user. End user is a farmer or a person who is only wants to know today's weather. That kind of person is can be get notified from any kind of social media. Like we have seen very too much examples of if we are scrolling something on Google, and immediately we get a notification on our social media accounts like in WhatsApp, Instagram, Twitter, and all kind of things. So that kind of things also include in alert and notification part. Thank you.
Look, it's being done.
Actually, may I respond?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, nowadays, the farmer doesn't require today's information only. He requires week's information. He requires 1 month information also. I mean, that farmer community has grown up, and it has been quite. Their understanding is much improved over a period of time. The demands also have increased. So what happens, other than the operational forecast where the weather plays important role, the extended range forecast where the climate comes into the picture, where we give the 4 weeks weather pattern. So this is also, is required, and probably that is what Dr. Pai was addressing. So it's not only the weather, but the farmer requires the climate information also. And then definitely we can do some hand-holding in case if there are difficulties in interpreting it or maybe understanding it. Thank you. So I will request the chair to give his comments on.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I want to speak on the point accessibility. As my friend has already said, the data should be available. But my point is that the data should be easily accessible only. This point only. As we are officers, we have the accessibility, but a common man with whom all are dealing on the ground, they don't have the accessibility. The apps that are made should be easily handled by a common man, by a layman. Sir. This is the only point that I want to lay. Thank you.
So thank you.
Yeah, we agree with you. We agree with you. And he was a part of our team actually. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pai and your entire team for this excellent presentations, and all the recommendations are very much relevant. Whatever points you presented here, and I think it has already brought out this part of the framework. Okay, so it will go a long way to carry out all the recommendations, but it is doable, I'll tell you. But before I speak about all these things, I just want to speak about the alert and notifications. See, last 3 years, starting with April 2021, I am giving the presentation every month. At the end of the particular month, I used to go along with my team to present the forecast for the month and the season. That is the climate forecast. That is not weather forecast. And when every day we are issuing the forecast by all our net centers and regional centers and national centers, that is the weather forecast. And every day we issue warning that is valid for next 5 days. But for climate, so far, IMD has not issued any warning. So alert and notification has been recommended here. That will be a new initiative. So I will tell you what happened actually. When I gave this presentation, I am bombarded with questions by the media. Most obviously, if I say that Marathwada will have less rainfall during this month, they usually ask what will the impact on agriculture. So whether there should be an alert, I am telling that rainfall will be deficient over Marathwada during the month of September, for example. That can go as an alert or as a notification. At present, we are just notifying. We are just providing the map, but we are not notifying the concerned state government that your region will be deficient rainfall during the month of September, and it will have the impact on agriculture like this. It will have the impact on drinking water like this. It will have the impact on such and such like this. That type of notification is not at present being provided. No alert is being provided to the concerned state like that. We just simply leave it by giving the presentation, by forwarding the presentation, video, and our press release to all the concerned state governments. We do not specify whether it is an alert or whether it should be a warning. And especially this year when I was briefing the press every month, question was, this is the alert, this is the El Nino year. Already there is an alert by the media and alert by every community. This is the El Nino year, so it will be deficient rainfall. It was accepted by the people that it will be deficient rainfall for this year. So what alert we have told? We told that it is a moderate El Nino. So that is a notification. This is a moderate El Nino. And what impact it will have? We told that it will have no impact. It will be countered by other parameters like IOD or Mediterranean oscillations or by the Eurasian snow cover, which are all favorable for the Indian monsoon this year. So that is the final word at present, say, being the El Nino year, what will be the impact? Whether there is an alert for a particular area because of the El Nino this year, this particular area will have deficient rainfall, or that particular area will have excess rainfall during this particular month or particular season. Whether frequency of extremely heavy rainfall activity will be higher than normal this year. Whether frequency of extremely heavy rainfall activity will be less than normal this year. Whether the number of events exceeding 99 percentile will be higher. So this type of information is not generated so far. It is being done partially. We are preparing this information at our end. We are putting up in our website. But unlike weather, in weather we are notifying, we are issuing alerts and warnings. But in climate at present, we are not issuing any alerts and warnings. That will be a new initiative, and that is what the recommendations. The third point I want to say that linkage, as Dr. Pai has explained, when we give the forecast for a particular day, say for example, Bombay, we have issued the heavy rainfall warning, whether expected rainfall will exceed 99 percentile, so that it will be very rare event. Or if the temperature is going to be say 45 degrees Celsius in a particular city, whether it will be the record temperature. So that type of notification, at present we are providing for heat wave, at present we are providing for the evident activity, but it's need further work. That is the linkage between weather alert and the climate alert. So climate group will say, yes, weather group has issued the weather warning today, and to amplify that, they will say that, yes, it is going to be a very extreme case, or it is going to be exceptional case, or it is going to be, so based on the climate data. So that climate data has to be acquired, has to be quality controlled, has to be made public. It is available in this information platform, interactive platform, so that people can themselves assess whether rainfall predicted today for my district, for my block, will be exceeding the previous records or expected to have an exceptionally. We have this information. We have, say, day before yesterday, we issued warning for exceptionally heavy rainfall over Southern and West Bengal. Okay. That criteria is defined, but utilization of the climate information also should go along with that. So with these comments, I'll say that I will not talk much. Everything has come out very well, be it data visualization, data integration, customization, accessibility, alert notification, feedback mechanism. Everything should be there in place, just like in weather front we have. And of course, all other books have told that data sharing policy. Yes, we have got some kind of policy, but as I talked in the beginning itself, all the data resources, whatever we have got, they should share. We should have a common platform where we can can have accessibility, easy accessibility. You told yes, the accessibility by each and everyone to access the data and utilize the data for the benefit of the society. So data bank and knowledge repository, whatever work is being carried out. One is the data bank, we have a data center. We can accommodate all types of data. I am giving the guarantee. We will take care of that. We will keep the data. But the point is that knowledge repository. There are many people. This is the point for academic and R&D. You are carrying out a lot of research. Let us share that. Let us keep it one repository and particular platform which will be available so that people should know. That will enhance further research. That will enhance also the users. And what is the utility of that research? That also to bring out. And if that is communicated to the national agencies, the national agencies also utilize that information. And that one exercise we have taken up here, one sub is here, dynamic crop weather calendar. We are writing all the vice chancellors we wrote letters. Whatever work you have done in your university with respect to the impact of weather on agriculture, please provide so that we can have the dynamic crop weather calendar. And we work with all our district agrometeorological unit and ABK centers. That exercise is going on. And many R&D organizations also have come up. So like that, for each and every sector, we can have the climate information repository and research work will be there. Yes, we have a mobile app. We have the mobile app with respect to weather, and for climate mobile app, yes, we can think about that. And whether we can have, or in the same mobile app, we can have the climate information that we can think about that. Yes, state level is very good information, as I told little in the previous presentation, that just like cascading process, we have got the global, national, global, regional, and national. We should have that cascading process at the national level, at state level, and at district level. Therefore, the climate outlook forum will go a long way. Just like we are doing it for South Asia, we can do it for each and every state. 1 day or 2 days climate outlook forum meeting can be conducted for each month, each season, once a year to begin with. Then we can go for each season. That can be carried out. Cost benefit analysis, sometimes it may be difficult to quantify the cost, but at least what Mr. Osalkar told, that we can have the entire, even if you are not able to quantify the benefit, cost is quantified, of course. If benefit cannot be quantified, at least it can be qualitatively analyzed and the impact assessment can be carried out with respect to various climate information. So you can go for user survey, you can go for the feedback mechanism. By that way also you can quantify whether it is useful or not, how much it is useful, what further you can do. All these exercises can be carried out. So thank you very much, Dr. Pai and their team on this excellent work.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chair, for a very detailed, the outlook and your inputs on this particular topic on user interest. I invite Dr. Pattanaik. He is a NWP expert, scientist currently working at IMD New Delhi, and he will be talking about the capacity development, and time is one of the constraints that I will request. This is the last presentation. After that, we will discuss about the draft outlook of this particular 2 days session that we had. Thank you. Over to Dr. Pattanaik.
So very good afternoon to all. This is the last group of our 5 groups. And yesterday evening we had a brief discussion on this thing. And actually some of the sectoral people were here, which just like agriculture sector, Dr. Santanu from Krida, he was there in our group. And then Rhymes, that Ansul, he was also in our group. Then okay, we miss health sector, Dr. Akash Srivastavji, but we discussed with him. And then our other colleagues from MOS, Suresh Ram was there. Then our Ranjan Phukan, he the reporter. Then Mohapatra was also there. And someone from our power sector also, I forgot the name. So this is the actually just briefly that as per the points we just highlighted, capacity building, as you know, it is very important actually. Capacity building means it is continuous process. Also, there has to be a short-term planning. There has to be long-term planning also. So taking into this thing, these are the 4 already discussed. Also, and our 5 is there. So 5 is the capacity building. So when we go for the capacity buildings, basic thing was training providers, resource persons, experts. They are the one group of people, or organizations. Then training receivers. That is another group of people, those who will take the training. So these are the two broad groups are there. So in training providers, who are the trainers, means who can give the training. So that we have to identify. So stakeholders. So here already there are ministry and to identify department, institute, expert under it that can provide training. Just like MOS, IMD, IITM, there are very institutions, their experts are available, there are well-known training, regular training programs are there, so that is, they can add. Suppose similarly CWC, like power, hydrology sectors, so they are also in trainings are there. Then each that experts, who are the experts in the under these sectors, which is the power sectors, they can identify. So resource persons or expert or institution like that can be also identified. They will be the training providers. In addition to all the institutions and experts available in under different ministry, institutes like we are regularly conducting the training like SASCOP. We are inviting experts from abroad also, WMO experts. Similarly, in-house also there are training means like RIMES. There is means they are experienced because they are working on this area, South Asia for a long time. So they also provide the training. NIDM, like National Institute of Disaster Management, NDMA. So these are the established centers and experts are available. So they can provide the training. Training receiver, who are because they means who will need the training. So NFCS, because for each sectors there are different target trainees maybe. So NFCS secretary will coordinate with different departments for candidates who need the training. So different, because NFCS suppose secretariat is established. If you are talking about the NFCS, means then they will identify means who need the training through coordinating with state governments or agency or sectoral application people. So that who need the training. Then for example, I'm the official from State Agriculture University, Krishi Vigyan Kendra. They are regularly ICAR is providing the training. Similarly, disaster management, state government officer, emergency operation people, or the district health officer for the health sector. So like that, so they have to, NFCS has to coordinate with all these sectorals where we are going to provide our services, so that to identify the who need the training. So these are the two sets. First part we discuss here, key stakeholder, both training provider and training receiver. Second part, current status, major gaps and capacity needs. That means the current status, yes, fortunately, current status, regular training programs along with required facilities are existing in several institutes, like as I mentioned. So this is our strength, that already we have experts are there, institutes are available. So this is current status. We can provide even on day one basis also, that can be provided. Means what are existing, but what are the main area, what are the gap area? There are, because many parts are already discussed here. Gap area, lack of dedicated and specialized training facility in specific sector. Suppose we do not have agriculture. I explained it is very good established CRA there, but we are not aware of what are the training dedicated specialized training for health sectors, like power sectors, when other sectors which are likely to emerging sectors. So that also gap we do not know, because we are thinking of to go to different sectors like tourism sector, construction sector. They also need. But where is that thing? So that is a gray area. Means we have to follow. So in the gap area, that you want the lack of dedicated training modules, because we discuss about the modules. We have not prepared any dedicated module for each application. So that also for sectoral application and various target groups. Who are the target, like analyst, field worker, researcher, media, policy makers? Because if you don't train properly the media people, whatever forecast or whatever the outlook you will give, they will interpret in a wrong way. So that's also regularly, this is a lack of dedicated training module for all these target area. So that we need to, that is a gap area. In fact, that's why I cover the policymaker also, media. Then interdisciplinary training program need to be developed. Interdisciplinary, because here it is not a climate, this is a climate science, okay. But we have several applications. Cascading effects are there. If you are one sector health, the temperature is high, it is not the only health sector will be there. Disaster manager sector also will be affected. Agriculture sector, poultry farm sector, even because of the high temperature, power sector also need. So it is interdisciplinary training program need to be developed. So that is one. Development of indices for quantification of impact-based forecast. Just like weather forecast, we have started actually this giving impact forecast. How much this much rain, how much it will be there. We have integrated the other impact matrix by considering other, whether it is low-lying area, whether it is densely populated area. These are the additional information is coming into this forecast. Then only we are giving to it some sort of impact. But whether this also can be done, as Mohapatra sir, DG sir was telling this one, develop indices of quantification of impact. Suppose if we are going for Maharashtra as a month, this August it will be dry for the this. Then what are the impacts? Which are the agriculture only or other power sector, whether the dam is having water or not? What are the other? So you have to integrate the other information in this forecast. Then only the indices can be developed for quantification of the monthly, extended, season forecast. So the impact can be So that's it, like development. Okay, so the capacity need means basic training on science of climate, because people also for climate variability, climate change, they should not be confused. So basic training on science of climate. There is also there are various sectors. NFCS Secretariat needs to discuss with stakeholders to assess the need of training in respective sector. So that's why NFCS Secretariat suppose they have to process all these things. There may be all organizations, state governments, many things, but that training needs, but they have to discuss with stakeholders to assess that domain-specific and climate-related training program. Domain-specific and climate-related training program regularly. This type of things are required, because so then only you come to training to trainers. And second thing, this is a popular. Even if you take, we are going for the South Asian, we are providing many services to the region also. But even if we confine to our India, it is 140 crore. So that means we cannot train to all. So that training to trainers. Suppose if you train someone in the state disaster management centers, that they need to do the training to the field workers, or if you take the district medical officer, they need to the block. So like that. So you have to identify and training to trainers. So that is also a capacity need. Second thing, link with other GFCS pillars, because all 4 GFCS pillars we have discussed in the first slide. Observation, this is suppose the observation and monitoring is one pillar. Then what is the link? Training for maintenance of observing instrument for proper functioning of the station. That means AWS we are installing some discussions are going on also. So that means how your training is being, we should give the proper training to that instrument maintenance, all this. Calibration means whether the radar calibration, AWS calibration, data storage and management, providing quality control data and its proper utilization. So this was the for observation group. This can be the linkages. Research, modeling, and prediction, bringing all data to common format and common platform. That already have discussed. So that is also part of this thing. How they can use this technology, new tools, and the modeling. Then new research findings should be disseminated to the users for better understanding and application. Since this is a research group, why I am talking this one? For example, just we are discussing with our friend from Amritsar yesterday in the dinner time. So they said we didn't expect that this time July first week itself, 7th, 8th, we got a very flooding over North India, and generally it comes, but it comes later. Okay, so this is the thing. But that information they don't have. But we have the findings, because now monsoon is coming early to the North India. So monsoon can come early. This is the climate change happening. Similarly, withdrawal also taking delay. So like that. So these are the basic research findings. So how it is, this has to go to them also, because they are looking for the July end that this will come, flood will come, or August will come. But no, not necessarily. Sometime 2013, by 15th of June also it came. So this research or whatever new findings are there, that also there is a linkage. Means how it will be disseminated, or how they should be aware. So that's why new research findings should be disseminated to the users of better. Climate service information system. So that group has extensively worked on training for better utilization products as per user requirement, because that is the most fundamental things. Because we provide or we prepare something that is not going to use, how they need, which format, or the translation of forecast product and advisory in simple language. That means dissemination. How this simple language you can communicate the probabilistic of this thing. So that simple language how you can transfer. User interface platform development, decision support system. DGs have also discussed about the decision support system tool by combining various inputs. The forecast inputs, climate information, forecast uncertainty, many things has to come, because forecast is not going to 100. That is you will give the decision. So that also the geographical knowledge, vulnerability, which area is vulnerable for what type of. So these are the decision support system also. user interface platform. Okay. So this is my last thing, last slides and last point also. Recommendation on near real time and little longer. As I said, some of the things already established. Okay, near real time to fulfill the initial large training need from various state governments and other user agencies that we can have. We have already many expert centers are there to introduce interdisciplinary domain in the training program. Interdisciplinary training, because when we are conducting a training, interdisciplinary part has to come because the climate service is going to the many areas. Higher priority is to be given to train field workers, observers, data analysts. As I said, this is a near real time because those who are in the field also they should train. Link need to be established with other pillars. Okay, then as I mentioned, how it has to be established. That is the immediate plan, means near target. But most importantly, long term, when we are talking for so many years for climate service or something, long term, what will be our long term? Establishment of advanced specialized training center for climate related issue. So, for example, why this is transdisciplinary. When last month, fortunately I visited Bangalore, and there is a transdisciplinary university of health science. Okay, that is the name. So that we combining different areas. So when we entered to that, visited that one, because the geography, ecology, health, Ayurvedic, everything is there, and they are combining all these things to have a better health facility. So like that, we do not have a institute like that, university like that, but transdisciplinary training centers where experts, wherever we are service we are going to provide. So they have to be there. If they are not there available, then identify the resource persons, and okay, then in the second they will be the resource person or experts. So this transdisciplinary and this center you can have become a better center of excellence. You can take the best practices available around the world or evolve the country specific protocols and procedure. That means whatever is available, that also can be done. But this is a most important because we are combining many sectors and we are only meeting during the time here, but we should also express
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Pattanaik. Sorry to keep you
I have met last
so
time.
whenever I stand, it is an indication that you have to
Yeah.
point it. So before the comments from chair, etc., I would like to please.
Thank you, Dr. Pattanaik's nice presentation. I was a part of this team. Actually, the sectoral training is the need of the hour. Though in agriculture we have a very well set of institutions and also trainers, but still I feel that we need training. Sir, actually DGM sir, Dr. Mohapatra mentioned about dynamic crop as a calendar. Sir, I was the team which actually developed it at CRIDA, and in collaboration with IMD, we are trying to implement it on all the districts and DAMU centers. But sir, as you told that the data is needed from others also. And sir, I believe that this training on the dynamic calendars should be continuously done. And sir, for that we need the support of IMD, and hopefully we can extend the program to all the districts of the country. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Are there one more responsive?
Last.
Gautam, can we talk with you during the lunchtime? Maybe Dr. Bala, if you are very quick.
So, capacity building is only a very important aspect because it will clarify what to us. Because power sector, one example, in Tamil Nadu, they ask sometimes data, which is asking where location of transformers, 350 transformers, they gave that location they wanted data at 1 hour interval. So and sometimes they develop each sector. They have their own development system where they wanted data. Suppose now they are using AIML technique. They ask for only 3 years data. From the 3 years data, they want to predict the things, which will not have the influence of earlier El Ninos or that type of things. They think that 3 years data, they want to do the climate change also. Sometimes from universities, they are asking us 3 years data you give, we want to study the climate change from 3 years data. So capacity building is a very, very important concept which will help you to clarify. You may have some ideas, but it will distill that idea.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Bala. And it was a very good session from Dr. Pattanaik. Before chair comments, I have just one comment. Sir, all these four presentation, five presentation rather, I derived four words which can combine all these aspects, and I call them as 4A. So one is first A is for awareness. All the pillars spoke about awareness. State government, some of us expressed that state government need to have this type of advocacy related to the climate. When I say that, probably I would say that we will take this responsibility with the permission of the chair, that we will draw our line big by which we reach to them and we advocate them and we tell them that how they can understand certain climate information handling system. That is one. Awareness. Advancement, yes, whatever current status, we need to advance further, and all the five pillars expressed it in their presentation that how we can do it. The third A is association, that we need to be associated, and as we are here today, we need to be associated. We will, and this type of association should develop and increase further, and it should become more and more strengthened. And last A is the assurance. Assurance is for what? That whatever commitment that we are making here, that we will work together to build this NFC system. IMD cannot or MUS cannot do it alone. We need assurances from all of you. We need cooperation, collaboration, commitment from all of you. We will do everything that is required to make you understand related to the climate information system. And based upon that, based on this 4A that I'm talking about it, maybe the NFCS would become one of the most successful NFCS in India. And last line, maybe little out of reference, but maybe the climate information system in the coming time should become a political agenda. And that's, because that derives, the science in the country, and it percolates to the society. So I feel that, it's not only the science, but, we require a lot of support from the governance also. And maybe with this few comments, I will give my mic to Chair, Dr. Mohapatra, DJIMD, please.
Thank you very much, Professor, for putting off the last words and last lines.